The elder of the Sutra Pavilion looks beautiful, but he is actually very tired. Every day, I have to deal with the big and small borrowings of the Scripture Pavilion, and I hardly have time for my own practice. Almost every elder, even the elders of the outer sect, is unwilling to become an elder of the Scripture Pavilion of the inner sect. Give me a reason. Zhao Changhei's voice became obviously a little colder. It is rare for him to promote a junior, but the other party has no aggressive intentions at all, and he is even mentally prepared. If Su Han suggested to become an elder in the inner sect, he would agree. But what does it mean to be an elder in charge at the Inner Gate Sutra Library? Great Elder, I usually like to practice at night. During the day, I will help the sect solve problems in the Sutra Pavilion, and at night I will practice by myself. For Su Han this reason, Zhao Changhe can't do a single word. It's obvious that he's just going to play tricks and fish, and he still goes to work during the day and practices at night, cheating ghosts. At this moment, Zhao Changhe suddenly regretted what he just said, but he promised to go out, so it's hard to go back on his word. Don't think about making progress. Find a time for yourself to go to the Inner Gate Kangjing Pavilion to report. After handing over the work, you go, and someone will arrange it for you. Okay. Let's break up the meeting. After finishing speaking, Zhao Changhe waved his sleeves, snorted coldly, and left. As for Wang Tian, seeing Su Han's rotten appearance, he was relieved. So what about the strong swordsmanship? Without cultivation-based strength, everything is empty talk. Hee. You even refuted the great elder's face in public. You really don't know what to do, and you will suffer in the future. Go to the Sutra Pavilion at the Inner Gate? Tired of you. Wu Yu walked up to Su Han and patted him on the shoulder heavily. Junior brother Su, work hard, I am optimistic about you. Seeing you work so hard, I feel relieved for my brother. Said, laughed, and left. As for the elders of the outer sect, they felt a lot more relieved when they saw that Su Han had changed from an outer sect laborer to an inner sect laborer. This Su Han. What a fool. At this time, Su Han suddenly thought of a very important sentence: the world laughs at me for being crazy, and I laugh at the world for not being able to see through. For them, the elders of the Tibetan Scripture Pavilion are indeed a hard job, and they are busy all day long. But what is being busy to Su Han? He has guarded the outer door for 100 years, so he is still afraid of the inner door. The most important thing is that the inner sect Tibetan Sutra Pavilion is the most frequented place for inner disciples, with the largest flow of people. Then, Su Han can invest well. The quality of inner disciples is higher than that of outer disciples, and the rewards for feedback will be higher as well. Return to the outer door. That night, he stood in the hall of the Sutra Pavilion, looking at the rows of bookshelves, feeling filled with emotion for a moment. Originally, he planned to use this place as a place to retire and stay here until he retired. But with the sudden arrival of the system, he has to go up step by step. That night, he lay on the wicker chair and slept all night. Early in the morning, he packed his things and went to the inner gate. Huh? Elder Yang, why is it you? Where's Elder Su? He went to the inner gate. This Elder Yang had a crying expression on his face. If it weren't for the crowds here, he would have burst into tears. As soon as Su Han left, the vacant position was filled by him. He just wants to practice well, he doesn't want to come to work. Thinking of having to deal with these chattering, questioning outer disciples every day in the future, his whole head grew dizzy. Ah! Elder Su has gone to the inner sect. The outer disciple suddenly lost his mind, shrugged his head, and walked towards the door. Hey, you haven't settled the bill yet. Elder Yang shouted heartbreakingly. Inner Gate Sutra Pavilion. Standing in front of the Sutra Pavilion at the inner gate, Su Han raised his head and looked up the iron tower. There is a world of difference between the inner door Buddhist Scriptures Pavilion and the outer door Buddhist Scriptures Pavilion. The Scripture Pavilion outside has only one floor, like a large factory building, while the Scripture Pavilion inside the inner door is just an iron tower. If you look carefully, the iron tower is covered with dense runes. This inner sect Scripture Pavilion is the real treasure of the Huan Yunzong. Su Han came early, and there were not many people in the Sutra Pavilion. He went straight to the counter. As expected of the Buddhist Scriptures Pavilion of the inner sect, the checkout counter is not ordinary luxury. It is made of high-quality spirit sandalwood, and there are several small formations on it to protect it from damage. After getting close, then I saw a thin old man with big black eye circles, who seemed to be severely malnourished, lying on a chair and sleeping soundly. He probably heard Su Han coming and opened his eyes. Seeing Su Han coming, his eyes suddenly seemed to have hope. At this moment Su Han seemed to become a light, illuminated him. Su Han, Elder Su, right? You are finally here. As soon as the skinny old man grabbed Su Han's hands, he was so excited that he almost cried. Yes, yes, I am. You were Elder Mo, right? I have known you for a long time, but seeing you today is really extraordinary. Su Han shook off the skinny old man's hand and smiled awkwardly. For this Elder Mo, Su Han has seen it before, isn't he a big fat man? How did it become like this now? It seems that the elder of the scripture pavilion of the inner sect seems to be a little more difficult than he imagined. I heard that you used to be the elder in charge of the sutra library at the outer gate. So, these matters, I don't need to introduce more to you, do I? About the price of borrowing spirit stones here, I've written them down in the notebook for you, and put them on the table. You can check them yourself. Hearing this, Su Han looked at the 1-meter-high black box on the table. Question marks in the head. This thing is a notebook? Brother Su, I thank you for 8 lifetimes. Bah, bah, bah. Look at me being so excited, I said something wrong, don't be offended, anyway, I am very grateful to you. In the future, if you have any difficulties, you can come to me, I can help, I will help. Let's go. After the words fell, Su Han realized that the person had disappeared. Seeing Elder Mo's mentally abnormal appearance, Su Han was a little surprised. Is there anything scary about this inner door Buddhist scriptures pavilion? At this moment, an inner sect disciple wearing a brocade robe picked up a bamboo slip in his hand, put it on the counter, and shouted impatiently, "Huh! Elder Mo, where is he? Where did he go? I am, and I will be in charge here from now on. My name is Su." Su Han walked into the counter and said to the brocade robe inner disciple. It will be Elder Su in the future, right? It doesn't matter. This is a middle grade Zon rank exercise, you can copy it, and I will get it tomorrow. Lingxi, I'll put it here. After finishing speaking, the inner disciple of Jinpao was about to turn around and leave. Wait? Copy? Copy what? Su Han was confused, didn't he tell me to copy all the exercises in this book? The inner disciple who was stopped by the shout was a little impatient, but he still explained to Su Han. After listening, Su Han was stunned. At this moment, he finally knew why Elder Mo Yan became like this. Because the exercises in the inner sect's Buddhist scriptures pavilion are all Dugu's version, and the lowest is the Zon level, so they couldn't be brought out of the Buddhist scriptures pavilion. In order to prevent the sect's martial arts from leaking out, he thought of a way. It is to let the elder in charge of the sutra pavilion use a special formation pen and special ink to copy it on a special paper. Moreover, this kind can only be copied on the spot, and cannot be copied in advance, because within an hour, if it is not absorbed into the sea of consciousness, the words on the paper will automatically disappear. Then, after the inner disciples got the transcript, they could only absorb it into the sea of consciousness and read it by themselves. At this moment, Su Han just wanted to ask, which crouching dragon and phoenix child came up with this inhumane method? Do you understand now? Then I'm leaving. I'll get it at this point tomorrow. After finishing speaking, the brocade robe disciple was about to leave. Su Han looked at the Jinpao disciple and shouted. Wait. Come here. The brocade-robed youth looked impatient, he still had to practice, now is a very good time to meditate. What happened again? Copy it yourself. He didn't want to copy it by himself. When someone else copied it, he directly absorbed it into his mind, and it was over in an instant. Such a large book, when will this be copied? Is this your own job? The elders of all ages are like this, why should you be special? The young man in the brocade robe looks like he is not afraid of Su Han at all. He has a handsome face, he is wearing a gorgeous thick brocade robe, and the jade pendant hanging around his waist is all carved from top-grade spiritual stones. It can be seen that his background is not simple. Maybe this is also the reason why Mo Yan dare not offend the second generation of dandies. After all, most of the inner sects are princesses from the big family of the Dagon Empire, and they directly enter the inner sect. On the contrary, the kind of grassroots monks who walked in step by step from the outer door accounted for only a small part. Cultivating immortals, sometimes they are actually fighting for family background and resources. But Su Han didn't care about these things, and asked me to copy the exercises for his dude disciple. What a mess. I am the elder in charge now, and I declare that this rule will be revised from me. Want it or not, copy it yourself if you want it. Su Han's voice was much louder, which attracted the attention of other disciples in the hall, and they all surrounded him. Seeing the disciples crowding over, the young man in brocade robe became a little annoyed for a while, and shouted angrily, I don't want it anymore. You wait, I'll sue you. As he said that, the young man in brocade robe strode forward, ready to go out. Seeing this, Su Han waved his hand, and a domineering spirit forcefully pulled the young man back to the chair. Su Han waved his hand again, and a table, paper, brush, and ink appeared in front of him. Under the strong coercion, The young man in brocade was unable to move. After all, he was just a little boy in the pulse condensation realm, and he could only manipulate him as he wished in front of Su-han. Let me go. Quickly let me go. Do you know who I am? My father is the Daqin Empire, the contemporary General Chong Sheng. General Shao is my father. Shao Renlong is also used to being a dandy, and when encountering troubles, he directly brought out his father. Because of this identity, few people in the inner sect dare to provoke Shao Renlong. Su-han, on the other hand, said casually while tidying up his counter, quickly copy. I don't care who your father is, General Chong Sheng. Even if he comes, so what, I am your elder, teaching you how to practice. He will not say anything, and even thank me for my good discipline. After finishing speaking, Su-han added another sentence. Practice exercises need to be understood word by word. Copying it carefully will have great benefits. What do you know, kid? Under so many fiery gazes from his fellow disciples, how could he listen to Su-han's words? He struggled crazily, saying, kill you, my father will kill you, and so on. I don't know how long I yelled, my voice became hoarse, but Su-han was still lying down and flipping through the book leisurely, ignoring him. Maybe he was tired of shouting, or maybe he felt that he had encountered a really hard problem. He looked down at the brush and ink in front of him, and began to struggle. Because of Shao Renlong's fuss, those disciples who were going to borrow the exercises were also looking at the situation. If Shao Renlong couldn't move the new elder, then what was waiting for them would be the sad ending of honestly copying the exercises by himself. After all, they don't have a general's father. After all, a dude has some backbone, especially now that there are so many people. He has no backbone, but he must have one. Otherwise, if I succumb today, when I walk on the road in the future, others will politely call me Senior Brother Shao. Soon, there were more and more people in the Sutra Pavilion. They all looked at Shao Renlong to see what kind of result it would be. In this way, it lasted until dusk. Shao Renlong held his arms in front of his chest, with an expression of preferring death to surrender. Those disciples who came to borrow the exercises saw that this matter could not be resolved today, so they left one after another, and came back to see the situation tomorrow. Su-han stood up from the counter, stretched his waist, and yawned. How time flies. Before I knew it, it was time to clock in and leave work again. Su-han packed up the things on the counter and was about to leave. Shao Renlong, who was still imprisoned on the stool, passed by and walked towards the door. See Su-han and leave regardless of himself. Shao Renlong was a little anxious. He really didn't expect this new elder to have such a tough personality. It seems that I have become the target of him to make an example of others. Hello? 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 Seeing that Su-han was about to lock the gate, Shao Renlong finally got a little scared. You know, the Sutra Pavilion at night is completely different from the Sutra Pavilion during the day, and the Sutra Pavilion at night is very scary. It is said that the Sutra Pavilion is haunted at night. Of course, how can a cultivator be afraid of such things as ghosts? But when the haunted ghost is outrageous and spooky, that's a different story. Elder Su. Don't lock the door. I copy. After hearing that Shao Renlong gave in, Su-han stopped locking the door and said, then copy. After finishing speaking, he returned to his own counter, and after seeing Su-han came back, Shao Renlong's heart was finally relieved. Copy it. Su-han took out the rattan chair that had accompanied him for 100 years, leaned on it, and prepared to fall asleep. Seeing this, Shao Renlong asked, Elder Su, can I copy it again tomorrow? No. When to copy it, when to leave. If you're serious, you can finish copying it in one night. Su-han didn't have time to care about him. He said casually, he did this to scare the chickens to scare the monkeys. Otherwise he would spend every day copying exercises in the Sutra Pavilion. Wouldn't he be the next insane Mo Yan? Seeing the night at the outer door is approaching, Shao Renlong was a little anxious, and quickly asked, Elder Su, don't you go back to your own cave? Well, I'll follow you back to your cave to copy, how about it? This is my cave. When Su-han was in the Sutra Pavilion at the outer gate, he usually slept in the Sutra Pavilion at night. When he woke up, he went straight to work without having to commute. Wouldn't it be great? Ah? Shao Renlong was a little confused. Think of the Sutra Pavilion as your own cave? Does this new elder really not know that this place is haunted? Elder Mo Yan always left before dark. Elder Su, don't you know, is this place haunted at night? Shao Renlong swallowed his saliva while talking, and looked around the bookshelves, for fear of seeing something. Haunted? I can't tell. You kid looks handsome on the surface, but you were actually so timid and submissive. Elder Su, I'm serious. Okay, stop talking nonsense, copy it quickly. Shao Renlong had no choice but to pick up the brush and start copying. He knew that Su Han couldn't be beaten, so he just hoped to finish copying and leave early. Unknowingly, the setting sun sneaked into the ground quietly, and the night shrouded around the iron tower, looking quiet and strange. At this time, Su Han was not asleep, but was meditating to fall asleep. Suddenly, he felt something and opened his eyes suddenly. Because he found that there was a powerful and hidden aura in the Sutra Pavilion, looking at him. From the looks of it, this should be the ghost, that Xiao Renlong said. But Su Han knew that this was not a ghost, but a person, a very powerful person, who was looking at himself at this moment in the Sutra Pavilion. Although the aura was very subtle, Su Han could tell that the aura was terrifyingly strong. But fortunately, this aura was just observing him, as if there was no malice. That night, in the hall of the Sutra Library, there was the sound of copying books, and there was no other sound. Soon, the sun rose in the east, and the morning light fell down. Fortunately, the night was safe and nothing happened, but Su Han, who was extremely vigilant, still did not fall asleep and was always on guard against that aura. Xiao Renlong, who lowered his head to copy the book, finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw a glimmer of light fall into the scripture pavilion. At this moment, he dared to raise his head and looked at the sunshine outside the window. He had never felt so warm in the sun at this moment. He had never experienced such a long night. This night, he kept his head down, not daring to pay any attention to the outside world. Only now did he realize that his back was covered in sweat. However, it has to be said that in such a highly anxious environment, the more he copied, the more he found that his understanding of the exercises seemed to be a step further. He suddenly remembered that what the new elder said yesterday, copying the exercises, really has a miraculous effect on practicing the exercises. Seeing that the exercises were almost finished copying, he continued to start copying with his head down. But after he tasted the benefits, he copied more vigorously and with more care. After Su Han opened the door, disciples came in one after another, but most of them were disciples who watched the fun yesterday, and they wanted to see what was going on today. When I saw Xiao Renlong, who was usually domineering, he was seriously copying the appearance of the exercises at this moment. These disciples looked shocked, their eyes widened, as if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. In the end, their gazes all turned to the counter. Su Han, who was still calmly reading a book, swallowed unconsciously. Not for a while. Xiao Renlong stopped writing and finally finished transcribing all of them. Soon, he found that the restraint on his body was lifted. He stood up, stretched himself, took the transcribed transcript, and walked towards Su Han. "Elder Su, I'm done copying." This time, it was obvious that Xiao Renlong's tone was much gentler. Among them, there is a thank you to Su Han. After all, he found that after transcribing it once, he seemed to understand a lot. If he went to practice by himself, he would soon be able to get started. What's more, I was sincerely convinced by Su Han's methods. The biggest feeling is that Elder Su really dared to stay here alone for one night, and nothing strange happened. After copying, put the original back on the shelf, and then leave by yourself. Su Han waved his hand. Okay. Just like that, the disciples who were watching looked at Xiao Renlong's obedient appearance in a daze. After Xiao Renlong left the Sutra Pavilion, it took a long time for these disciples to react. Now, they understand one thing, that is, if they want to borrow exercises, they can only copy them themselves. Even a tough guy like Xiao Renlong was overwhelmed, so what reason do they have to dare to confront this new elder? "Elder Su, I want to borrow this." "Well, there are a total of 1,100 low-grade spirit stones. Put the spirit stones here, and then find a place to copy them." "Yes." Soon, a very strange scene appeared in the hall of the Sutra Pavilion. The originally empty hall was now full of disciples. They were sitting in their seats, writing vigorously, and copying exercises. The entire Sutra Pavilion, like a college entrance examination room, was eerily quiet. Only the sound of brush strokes and the sound of breathing one after another could be heard. At first, the disciples who copied the exercises were very unwilling, but as they copied, each of them frowned, suddenly realized, and thoughtfully. Finally, after dark, almost most of the disciples have finished transcribing it. Almost all of them changed their attitudes, put the original back on the bookshelf in a polite manner, and after saying goodbye and thanking Su Han politely, they hurried out of the Sutra Pavilion, and they got a lot of insights, ready to practice exercises. There are still a small number of disciples who dare not stay here overnight, so they said they would come to transcribe the next day, and left in a hurry. The story about Su Han's rectification of the Sutra Pavilion soon spread throughout the inner sect. At the beginning, there were always some more thorny disciples than Xiao Renlong, who didn't believe in evil, so they had to try it. Finally, after one night, they all copied the exercises honestly, and what made people feel even more unbelievable was that the next day, those provocateurs all changed their attitudes. Each of them was very respectful and very happy. You don't know. Elder Su really understands righteousness and has worked hard with good intentions. After carefully copying every word of the exercise, I actually realized a lot. Yeah, after I copied it carefully, it only took 3 days to get started. Isn't it? At first I sniffed it. Isn't this a waste of my time? Later, it's really fragrant like you. I have to say, it's a pity that Elder Su didn't become a teacher. It's really a waste of talent in the Tibetan scripture pavilion. For a while, the good comments about Su Han became popular in the inner circle. It only took Su Han a short week to open up the market of the inner sect, which not only gave him a good reputation, but also let the disciples of the inner sect know how fierce he is. In fact, at first Su Han simply didn't want to copy for them, and didn't think too much about it. However, this unintentional move brought him such good benefits. He originally thought that it would take at least a month or two for him to settle down in this inner door, but now it seems that it only takes a week or two. Su Han's reforms soon alarmed the higher-ups of the illusory cloud sect. When Wang Tian learned about this, his face was dark for several days. He thought that Su Han had just entered the inner sect, and entered the inner sect under the condition of offending the great elder, so it must be very difficult. Unexpectedly, this kid won the hearts of a large number of inner disciples so quickly. Are you serious? Zhao Chonghe took a sip of tea with a shocked expression on his face. This Su Han, so capable. It's not just capable, it's simply unreasonable. General Shao's son was imprisoned in the Sutra Pavilion for a whole night. City Lord Li's son was slapped and forced to copy, and the one from the Ma family. In short, Su Han is not afraid of offending people at all. The point is, here comes the most outrageous thing. Those disciples who were forced to copy books all changed afterward. I am grateful to Su Han. Grand Elder, you also know that there are a few wealthy disciples in our inner sect who have not simple family backgrounds. Su Han's reckless behavior not only disregards the rules of the Sutra Pavilion, but also offends many people. Wang Tian reported this matter to Zhao Chonghe immediately, and he was going to let Zhao Chonghe suppress Su Han's arrogance. Has he offended someone? No. A disciple reported it? No. Zhao Chonghe chuckled lightly. Isn't that enough? You can't see the big picture. Su Han's actions have done my illusory cloud sect a great favor. It's you. You are so concerned about Su Han's affairs, you just want me to suppress him. My God, you should focus more on training. After listening, Wu Yu bowed his head and said, I understand, Great Elder, then I will take my leave first. Little Chen. Following Zhao Changhe's words, a thin man walked out from behind the screen. Go to the merit hall and ask Hall Master Yao to pick up a ground-level exercise. Then, you send it to Su Han yourself. Yes. Zhao Chonghe is not a stingy person, on the contrary he is very generous. Everything he has is for the sect, he can afford it and let it go. For Su Han, who has substantially helped the sect, of course he would like to thank him. Elder Su. This is given to you by the elder. The thin man handed the brocade box to Su Han. Su Han did not refuse, and after taking the brocade box, he said to the man, Thank you, Great Elder, for me. The thin man didn't speak, but took a deep look at Su Han, and then left. Now at this point, it is almost dusk, and most of the disciples who copied the exercises have also left. Su Han opened the brocade box and discovered a kung fu. After opening it, I found that it was a low-grade cultivation method called the Judgment in the Clouds. This exercise, Su Han knows, is one of the core exercises of the Huan Yunzong. Although it is only a low-level ground-level exercise, it is much better than most middle-level exercises of the earth level. But now, only the elders of the inner sect, who have served for a certain period of time, or who have made considerable contributions to the sect, can obtain this exercise. And Su Han only came to this inner sect for a few days, and got this exercise. Although, with Su Han's current resources, he does not lack earth-level exercises, but it is better to keep them than none. Bad luck, wear small shoes for yourself or something. Su Han's footsteps into the inner door were almost on the verge of gaining a firm footing. In a few days, he can start investing. After all, it would be very strange for Su Han to start investing in help as soon as he entered the inner sect, and those inner sect disciples would also feel that he had malicious intentions. It's easy to be self-defeating. Therefore, Su Han first set up a good personality to facilitate investment. After all, there is no rush to invest in this thing, you have to take it step by step. In the past few days, more and more inner sect disciples have heard about Su Han's reform, and they have come to try it after receiving numerous praises. Now, those disciples hardly need persuasion, and they take the initiative to copy the exercises. Payment, copying, and returning, a set of procedures, can be completed by yourself, and Su Han does not need to take care of the whole process. Consciousness to the extreme, mainly because of this group of inner disciples, who have not realized this way of copying exercises while practicing, feel that they have benefited a lot, and have tasted a lot of benefits. The funniest thing is that when the previous Mo Yan, who was forced to go insane, heard about this incident, he couldn't believe it in every possible way. When he rushed to the scene in person and saw the scene of thousands of people writing vigorously, he was completely dumbfounded. He couldn't even think of killing him, and this kind of operation, why didn't he think of it before? In fact, even if he thought about it, he didn't have the guts to let this group of arrogant dandies obediently copy the exercises. After all, his background is very ordinary, and a Shao Renlong can already make him tremble. After all, I am not a ruthless person like Su Han. He guessed that Su Han's background must not be simple, otherwise he would not be so unscrupulous. Anyway, Mo Yan is still very grateful to Su Han for pulling him out of the total quagmire, otherwise he might have died of exhaustion in this sutra pavilion. During this period of time, although Su Han was lying down reading a book in the sutra pavilion, he was also observing the luck of the inner disciples. Sure enough, the luck levels of the inner disciples were indeed higher than those of the outer disciples. Even the outer disciples had good yellow luck, but many of the inner disciples had yellow luck. There are even 7 or 8 light blue luck seen. Although I haven't seen purple luck disciples yet, these blue and yellow luck disciples are enough for Su Han to eat for a long time. Purple luck, that is unparalleled in the world, can become the existence of the trendsetter of the times. How can it be so easy to come across? No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. For these disciples with low luck, it is okay to invest slowly and accumulate little to make a lot. It has been half a month since Su Han entered the inner gate Tibetan scripture pavilion, and Su Han can be regarded as a firm foothold. Nowadays, those disciples who are too dandy and rebellious outside have to respectfully call out, Elder Su, when they come to this Buddhist scripture pavilion to borrow books. And Su Han's character design is almost standing still. In the eyes of these inner disciples, Su Han is a ruthless man with a strong background, mysterious and low-key, and long-term vision. These inner disciples are all like this, bullying the weak and fearing the strong, but for Su Han, who is a bit more ruthless, they are even more admirable and shocked. Moreover, the more fierce and cold his attitude became, the more obedient these inner disciples became. This made Su Han have to wonder whether this group of proud disciples were all shaking him. On this day, Su Han started investing. Invest in yellow luck. Feedback success. Obtain 105th grade spirit gathering pills, 1 year's cultivation experience. Invest in light blue luck. Feedback success. Obtain the earth level middle grade Wuji, Taikui Yiyang finger, and gain 10 years of cultivation experience. Invest in yellow luck. Feedback success. Gain 1 year's cultivation experience. Invest in blue luck. Feedback success. Obtain an 8th grade holy healing pill, 15 years of comprehension and cultivation, and 10 years of comprehension of swordsmanship. During this month, Su Han invested in one every other day. Even if it is yellow luck, he will pick a few people with good character, politeness and potential to invest. That's it, less makes more. He has come from the 5th level of Lingai to the 8th level of Lingai. This is only 1 month. And in this month, only half of the month is investing, because investing every day is too eye-catching. To make a bad score, even if you cut leaks, you have to pay attention to speed, otherwise other disciples will think that they are great saints, and they will take the initiative to ask for their help. However, Su Han himself never imagined that his investment would cause 1/5 of the inner disciples to become Su Han's loyal, little fans. Because Su Han invested in helping them overcome the very difficult bottleneck, Su Han is a benefactor to them. In fact, Su Han only cares about investing, but also ignores a more terrifying, hidden benefit. So Su Han can not only get feedback rewards from the system, but his help will make those who have been helped by him owe him a favor. If one day, most of the disciples of the illusory cloud sect were invested by him, then Su Han raised his arms. Wouldn't he be able to overthrow the illusory cloud sect directly? Then the head will ask a question mark. Huh? Who is the head? However, Su Han didn't think too much about it. He just wanted to invest silently, get rewards, and improve his own strength. Only his own strength is the most real sense of security. That night, Su Han, as usual, slept on his wicker chair. Thump thump. Suddenly, there was a sound of very light footsteps. Su Han opened his eyes, subconsciously trying to sit up. But I found that I can't seem to move. No matter how he struggled, his whole body seemed to be tightly bound by a pitch-black hell chain, and he couldn't even mobilize his spiritual energy. His pupils narrowed sharply, and he could only hear footsteps getting closer. With every sound of footsteps, the blood in Su Han's whole body will vibrate once. This is the domain? Su Han was shocked in his heart. He heard that this kind of domain can only be comprehended by those who are above the innate realm. A few days ago, he saw the term you from an ancient book, but he didn't expect that he could experience it for himself now. As the footsteps approached, the hairs on Su Han's body stood on end. This was the first time he felt that death was so close to him. He also deeply felt this powerlessness under absolute strength. Any hole card is just a joke. He felt that that person had stopped not far from him. The sound of footsteps also stopped abruptly, and Su Han felt the sense of confinement in his body disappear. He swallowed a breath, and his scalp felt a little numb. Gritting his teeth for the last time, he sat up and looked towards the shadow ahead. Then I found a very short black figure standing in the shadow. Looking at the black shadow, Su Han could only feel that his chi and blood were flowing backwards uncontrollably, and a few drops of fine cold sweat appeared on his forehead unconsciously. Su Han wasn't afraid, but a sense of vigilance born of instinct under this weird domain. Quiet, extremely quiet. It was so quiet that Su Han could only hear his own breathing. Even the sound of the outside door disappeared. Su Han knew that he was deeply trapped in the domain, and was already a fish on the chopping board. After a few breaths, the black shadow slowly walked out of the shadows. With the help of the moonlight, Su Han could clearly see the appearance of the black shadow. After seeing it clearly, Su Han opened his mouth slightly, a little astonished. He has imagined many possibilities. It may be a Cthulhu monster with 3 heads and 6 arms, it may be a blind grandfather with missing arms and legs, or it may be a lonely ghost who died of injustice. But I never thought it would look like this. Petite, about 1.55 meters tall. The clothes Su Han is wearing are hard to describe in words. After thinking for a long time, he finally remembered an anime character from his previous life, Tokasaki Kurumi. He is tied with 2 lamb whips, his face is as delicate as a seal carved by nature, his eyelashes are very long, and under the faint moonlight, he can clearly see 2 eyes with pupils of different colors. His eyes are very indifferent, but this kind of direct indifference, in Su Han's opinion, is actually a little cute. Just like that, the two looked at each other for a few breaths. Perhaps seeing the other party's petite and cute appearance, more than half of Su Han's sense of fear disappeared. The opponent is strong, but it is true not to be afraid. The girl looked at it for a while, her brows relaxed, and in the next second, Su Han only felt that the sense of confinement around him disappeared, and the domain also disappeared. The two continued to look at each other without speaking. Finally, Su Han couldn't bear it anymore, and said with a half smile, "Hello." The words fell. The girl didn't answer, she walked straight to Su Han's wicker chair, and then lay down. After a while, there was a gentle breathing sound. Fell asleep? The question mark on Su Han's head. At this moment, he is a little confused. Who is this little girl? A strong man above the innate realm, who has been in this sutra pavilion for so long, has no one found out. But it's normal to think about it carefully. The head of Huan Yunzong with the highest cultivation level is only in the Shanshan realm. This strong man who has even comprehended the domain, doesn't want people to find out, and no one can find out. Su Han looked at the girl, ready to read her message with his heavenly eyes. But think about it, forget it. After all, now I am not familiar with this strange girl at all, and I don't even know whether it is an enemy or a friend, so it is better not to act rashly, and observe for a while. She occupied her own rattan chair, and Su Han had nowhere to sleep. The rattan chair had accompanied Su Han for 100 years, and he could only sleep on it. That's all. Immediately, Su Han took another stool, sat in front of the counter, and began to read. There are a lot of ancient books in this sutra pavilion, and they are also very precious. He will read them whenever he has nothing to do, and he has learned a lot of things that he has never known before, including domain, which are all seen in ancient books. Before I knew it, it was dawn. Su Han opened the door of the sutra pavilion. The Wanyan school is worthy of being a place of great masters, and there is never a shortage of scroll kings. As soon as he opened the door, he saw more than a dozen disciples, already ready to move. As soon as Su Han opened the door, he rushed into the Buddhist scriptures pavilion. It was like a grandma and uncle scrambling for food in a supermarket on weekends. These disciples are too self-conscious, so self-conscious that it makes Su Han feel bad. Paying, transcribing, and returning the whole process, without making any other noises or making unnecessary movements, Su Han, the elder in charge, has the daily task of opening, and closing the door again. At this time, the girl lying on the wicker chair woke up and found that she was covered with a piece of clothing. "You're awake?" Su Han asked without looking back while reading the book. Feeling that there was no answer, Su Han turned his head and found that the person had disappeared, not even a trace of breath remained. Su Han also continued to read his own book and do his own thing. After all, as long as the girl in the red skirt has no ill intentions towards him and doesn't affect him, it's fine. Before you know it, a busy day of life is over. Call it a day. After dark. Just after Su Han was lying on the rattan wooden chair and preparing to sleep beautifully, he found that a spiritual energy lifted him up and hung him in the air. When he looked down, he didn't know when, the girl in the red dress fell asleep on his rattan chair again. Seeing this, Su Han was not angry at all, and continued to read his book. After all, he was a monk at the Spirit Sea Realm, so he didn't need to sleep anymore. Sleeping is just for Su Han to pass the time. But for the next few days, it's always like this. At night, they come out to occupy Su Han's bed, and then they don't do anything or talk, just lie down and start sleeping, and leave at dawn. Very regular, so regular that Su Han couldn't bear it. At least, you have to tell who you are and what you are going to do, right? You, a supremely strong person above the innate realm, can't have evil intentions to occupy other people's beds every day, right? But because the opponent's strength is too strong, let's bear with it first. Finally, that night, Su Han couldn't take it anymore. Walking up to the rattan chair, he asked directly, "What are you going to do?" Perhaps it was too quiet. Su Han's voice was constantly echoing in the hall of the Sutra Pavilion. The girl in the red dress slowly opened her eyes. Sitting up and looking at Su Han for a long time, he finally said, "I don't have any other ideas, I just sleep here every day." The voice is very light, not like a little girl's voice at all, on the contrary very mature. It can be seen that her real age is already very old. After she finished speaking, she waved her hand, and in front of Su Han, there was a ball of light floating. Immediately, the ball of light landed on Su Han's hand, and he realized that it was a space ring. Moreover, it is still the best space ring. Space rings are very formal. Most of the disciples of the illusory cloud sect use storage bags. Only those few core disciples have their own exclusive space rings, but they are only inferior space rings. And this kind of top-quality space ring has a huge space inside, which is big enough to hold an entire Buddhist scripture pavilion, and dozens of Buddhist scripture pavilions are no problem. These are the rewards, take a look, have you seen enough? The words fell. Su Han's consciousness entered the space ring, and when he saw what was inside, he was dumbfounded. Mountains of spirit stones, these are no ordinary low-grade spirit stones. This is a high-grade spirit stone. My dear, these high-grade spirit stones must be worth 6 figures. According to the market price, one high-grade spirit stone can be exchanged for 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. And with so many high-grade spirit stones, Su Han couldn't figure out how many low-grade spirit stones he could exchange for. These high-grade spirit stones, Su Han must have worked in the Sutra Pavilion for hundreds of years to save them. Although Su Han doesn't lack any resources at the moment, who would dislike having a lot of money? With these spirit stones, there will be more investment capital. It's like, if a certain disciple who can invest lacks certain materials, Su Han can use spirit stones to buy in the market for investment. All resources are the capital invested by Su Han. After the investment feedback, more capital will be obtained, so that the profit will continue to increase, and the strength will continue to improve. In this space ring, there are no other items except spirit stones. Enough. It's enough, it's 1 month's rent, and I'll give it to you next month. Then how long are you going to sleep? At this moment, Su Han's attitude became much better. What a great benefactor. With so many spirit stones, you can only rent them for 1 month. You can imagine how rich she is, a typical little rich woman. I will sleep as long as you are here, the girl in the red skirt said lightly. Okay. Then in order not to disturb you, I will go back to my cave at night. If you like this broken chair, I will leave it here as a bed for you. Su Han put away the space ring, feeling very happy. If things go on like this, it won't be long before I become the hidden rich man of the illusory cloud sect, and I have spirit stones. By that time, what skills, weapons, and materials can't be bought? No, you have to stay here too. The girl in the red skirt emphasized again. Hearing this, Su Han was a little surprised, his brain circuit was a little strange. You seem to have a special aura on you, which I can't see through, but it makes me feel at ease. The girl in the red skirt finally told the reason. Fine. Su Han didn't ask any more questions, just say what you say, as long as you give me money, you can say whatever you want. My name is Su Han. After the words were finished, the girl in the red skirt didn't answer, obviously she didn't want Su Han to know her name. Unconsciously. In this way, a month passed. Su Han observed his disciples during the day and night, looking for opportunities to invest, and accompanied the girl in the red dress to sleep at night. Su Han enjoys working 2 jobs a day. He can make money and improve his strength. Why not do it? Because his rattan chair was occupied, Su-han simply built an identical chair, and lay down to sleep at night. Anyway, he only needs to stay here, and there is no doubt that Su-han can lie down and rest. Today's Su-han has reached the perfection of the Spirit Sea realm, and is only one step away from the Shanshan realm. In fact, half a month ago, Su-han was able to set foot in the spiritual sea and achieve consummation, but he has been stuck in this state ever since. It's not that Su-han deliberately suppressed the realm, only a fool would suppress his own cultivation realm, but that Su-han was really stuck in this bottleneck. Lingai and Shanshan seem to be only one step away, but in fact they are separated by thousands of miles, which is as difficult as breaking the sky. I don't know how many Lingai monks have been stuck in this state all their lives. There is a saying to describe the miraculousness of entering the innate. Once you enter the innate, you have to lose your mortal body before you can see the world. This is innate. If the Spirit Sea realm is compared to a pond, then innate is a lofty mountain, a different type of strength, another realm of strength. Therefore, Su-han was also depressed. What kind of opportunity did he miss, and why he was stuck at the peak of the spiritual sea for half a month? If these words were heard by outside monks, they would probably want to kill the pretender Su-han. What does it mean to be stuck for half a month? Then I have been stuck for decades, can I directly consider reincarnation and reopen? This night, the girl in the red dress suddenly opened her eyes and sat up. Looking at Su-han, he seemed to have made a decision in his heart, and said, "My name is Tianyue." The words fell. Su-han also sat up and said with a smile, "Tian's surname? This is the first time I've heard of it. You are not bad, except for being a little greedy for money, you don't have any major shortcomings." During this time, Tianyue was also observing Su-han's every move. It was discovered that he was already a perfect cultivation base of Lingai, but he was still willing to stay here as a little elder guarding the pavilion. Of course, it wasn't his cultivation that shocked her. From his point of view, the consummation of the spiritual sea was also pitifully weak. It was his promotion speed. She started to observe him when he first entered the Kangjing pavilion. At that time, he was only at the 5th level of Lingai, and in just 2 months, he had crossed 5 realms, only reaching the Shanshan realm. Moreover, she didn't see him take the initiative to cultivate, but the only abnormality is that he is willing to help others, and when he sees some disciples having difficulties, he will take the initiative to help, which is something she appreciates more. Other than that, he had a very comfortable day, except for reading and sleeping. If it was before, she would probably arrest him and search his soul. But now, she is no longer who she used to be, and she will never do those crazy things again. "I can't even leave here." Hearing the girl in the red dress introduce her name, Su-han knew that she was not so vigilant about herself. He then asked the question he was most concerned about. "If I'm not mistaken, your cultivation base is so high. Why do you stay here, in this small Buddhist scripture pavilion?" The words fell. Su-han noticed that her expression was obviously displeased. No, I don't mean to offend, I'm just curious, you don't have to tell me." "No problem. It's okay to tell you." With that said, Tianyue raised her head and looked at the ceiling of the sutra pavilion, with a look of nostalgia on her face. "Do you know what the name of this black tower is?" The first words of the girl in the red dress immediately interested Su-han. He also raised his head and looked at the interior of the scripture storage pavilion. In fact, when he came here on the first day, he also discovered that the outer door was just a hall, while the inner door was an iron tower. This black tower is called the soul detaining tower. However, it's just a fragment, but this fragment is enough to trap me. The voice of the girl in the red skirt became a bit vicissitudes. Hearing these words, Su-han roughly guessed it, and her own guess was right. She was just forced to be trapped here, otherwise, how could a big guy above the innate realm live in this small place? However, this is too bloody. Su-han couldn't help complaining in his heart, as expected, in this fantasy world, the Sutra Pavilion is not a simple place. But Su-han is glad that he met a beautiful lowly girl instead of an old man with missing front teeth. This thing can still trap people? Why are we still in and out? Su-han asked again. Don't you see that I am a soul body? Tianyue gave Su-han a white look. However, Su-han really couldn't see it. It can't be seen that it is a soul body at all, but it can also be seen that the strength of her soul, even if it is a soul body, has caused such a sense of oppression to Su-han. Then you are here. 500 years. Su-han's expression changed, and he suddenly felt sad. 500 years. 500 years. What kind of concept is this? The 100 years that Su-han stayed in the outer door was already a lifetime. If he didn't get the system, he probably wouldn't have many years to live. And for 500 years, staying in this place, what kind of loneliness is it? Although Su-han can't empathize with it, he can feel it a little bit. This tower can trap you for so long. Why is it in the illusory cloud sect? Su Han asked again. Logically speaking, with the level of strength of the Huan Yunzong, there is no way to get in touch with things of this level. When this tower existed, there was no illusory cloud sect. As I said just now, this is just a piece of debris. The real Soul Obsession Tower is much more terrifying than this one. It's just scattered debris that just hit this place. Hearing Tianyu's explanation, Su Han almost understood. Co-authoring this is a big treasure. Illusory Cloud Sect must have come to inquire about it, but they didn't find out anything unusual, and then simply used it as a Buddhist scripture pavilion. Then you never thought about leaving? Su Han finished speaking. Tianyue rolled his eyes at him, then lay down and continued to sleep. Su Han also smiled awkwardly, as if he had asked a nonsense question. At this time, now the time is ripe, he used his eyes of the sky to inquire about Tianyu's information. Soon, the information about his luck was displayed in Su Han's mind word by word. Name: Tianyue, luck level, Luan's elephant, weak. Age: 615 years old, strength, broken realm. Current status: spirit body, life evaluation. The legacy of the celestial clan, bearing a certain cause and effect, accompanied by great luck, talent envied by the sky, suffered a catastrophe. If you don't meet a noble person, you will be imprisoned for life, and you will never be able to recover forever. Current encounter: trapped in the soul-detaining tower, unable to escape. After reading it, Su Han was stunned for a long time. The image of Tinluan. Good guy, this is Fa Shang luck, one level higher than purple luck. After using the sky eye, Su Han could see the color of luck above everyone's head, but he didn't see the color, but behind Tianyue, he saw a phantom of Qingluan. But, the phantom is very weak. If it is visible, it means that her luck is very weak, and it has reached the point where it is about to fall. This also proves that people with great luck do not necessarily have smooth sailing all their lives, and the more lucky people are, the disasters encountered by ordinary people are unimaginable. Then luck will disappear. It's like Tianyue, although she has top-level Dharma luck. But if you are trapped here, if you can't escape, the Dharma-like luck behind you will gradually disappear, and the luck will also turn from Dharma-like to black. At this moment, the Dharma figure behind Tianyue not only became empty, but also a little black. Moreover, judging from her life, she was destined to die. Could it be that that noble person is me? Although Su Han had a storm in his heart, he acted very calmly. This is the first time he has encountered the top luck of Fa Shang, and Su Han has to find a way to catch it. However, it is a bit difficult to invest in this. With her strength, it is difficult to escape. She is just a little weak chicken who has not yet reached the innate realm. How can I help? At this time, Su Han asked the system with the mentality of giving it a try. System: what kind of broken tower is this? Is there any way to break it? The words fell. No response. After a long silence, the system's voice sounded, with the host's current strength, it can't be done. Hearing this, Su Han's face fell down. Good guy, you might as well not answer this answer. However, there is a method with a low success rate. The sound of the system sounded again. Su Han hurriedly asked, what way? Create a new body for her to help her get out of trouble. Hearing this, Su Han asked again, so simple? For Su Han's resources, creating a body is not a problem at all. It must be a body made of soul crystal jade. Hearing the words, soul crystal jade, Su Han frowned, because he had only heard of this thing in ancient books, and had never heard of it in reality. Moreover, the introduction to soul crystal jade in ancient books is also very short and bizarre. It is said that the conditions for the birth of this thing are very harsh. It must be a place that has experienced massacres, a little bit. And to create a brand new body, at least dozens of kilograms. It seems that it is very difficult to help her get out of trouble. This night, Su Han followed the darkness and hurried down the mountain to a nearby Dagon auction house. My lord, I have never heard of the soul crystal jade you mentioned. However, if your lord really needs it, I can report to the headquarters to see if you can get it for your lord. The steward saw the young man wearing the costume of the elder of the illusory cloud sect, with a flattering expression on his face. After all, the illusory cloud sect is one of the 7 great sects, and its reputation spread far and wide in the Dagon Empire. No need. Do you still have the pulse-breaking pill here? Yes, yes. How many do you need? The breaking vessel pill is an elixir that increases the success rate of breaking through the small realm in the Ningmei territory. Su Han found that the trouble that a small number of disciples in the inner sect who are not well off have encountered recently is that they have encountered a bottleneck in their cultivation. A large number of people need the pulse-breaking pill. However, due to their poor family background, they were promoted step by step from the outer sect to the inner sect. With their 1 month salary of spirit stones, it is not too difficult to buy a 5th grade breaking pulse pill. It was a rare trip down the mountain, so Su Han simply bought some things for investment. 50. Su Han recalled and said. Hearing that he bought 50 pills of breaking pulse at one time, the steward's eyes widened, and he couldn't be more excited. Now, my lord, please wait for me. Here, they are just a small branch, and they only have 200 or 300 pieces of pomai pill in stock, and they can buy 50 pieces at a time. What kind of handwriting is this? Soon, the steward took a low-grade space ring, handed it to Su Han, and said, there are 50 rings in total, please count. Su Han took the ring, swept it casually, and asked, how much? My lord is the first time to come here to buy things, and I also want to make friends with you. Well, I'll give you a 30% discount, sir. Just give me 20,000 high-grade spirit stones. Hearing the price, Su Han couldn't help sighing. It's really expensive to cultivate an immortal. Fortunately, I have a big financial backer in my family, and the 20,000 high-grade spirit stones are still a drop in the bucket for me. With a wave of Su Han's hand, in front of the steward, there appeared a pile of top-grade spirit stones piled up in a hill. Let's order. No, the steward waved his hand and took the spirit stone away. 20,000 high-grade spirit stones. The sales of their auction house have finally doubled this month. Although I made my own claim and got a 30% discount, I lost a lot, but overall I still made a lot of money. The most important thing is that I also got to know the big shots of the Huan Yunzong. If such a big shot made a big mistake and became a regular customer in the future, would there be any need to worry about performance? And these, I want a copy of them all. With that said, Su Han took out a list and handed it to the steward. Above all, during this period of time, Su Han observed the supplies needed by the inner disciples, and then recorded them, and then invested in them at that time. Okay. A few minutes later, Su Han paid another 3,000 high-grade spirit stones. Before leaving, he thought of something, and said to the steward, if you have any news about that soul crystal jade, please use this sound transmission stone to contact me. With that said, Su Han handed the steward a sound transmission stone. Okay, if there is a channel, I will notify you as soon as possible. Back at the Sutra Pavilion, Su Han began to worry again. This soul crystal jade is indeed too difficult to obtain. He looked at Tianyue, thought for a long time, and asked aloud, I can help you get out of here. The words fell. Tianyue opened his eyes, looked at Su Han in surprise, and murmured, help me leave? How can you help me? For 500 years, she tried countless methods, but she couldn't leave. Su Han is just a little weak chicken who hasn't even set foot in the innate realm. How can I help? It's enough to help you reshape the physical body. After listening, a trace of disappointment flashed in Tianyu's eyes, and she sighed. Do you think I haven't tried it? She had already tried this method, but all ended in failure. My original body is still lying in the crystal coffin at this moment. If I can get back my original body, maybe it is possible. However, with Su Han's strength, let him go to find the body for himself. Basically there will be no return. Have you heard of soul crystal jade? Soul crystal jade? Is this what you mean? Saying that, Tianyue waved her hand, and a large piece of purple-black crystal appeared in front of Su Han. Seeing this, Su Han's eyes widened. What? Can you get anything? Su Han weighed the weight of this piece of soul crystal jade, and sighed. The weight was still not enough, missing by a third. What's wrong? Tianyue asked suspiciously. Using soul crystal jade to create a new body for you can help you leave this place. Su Han didn't intend to hide anything, said. The words fell. Tianyue thought for a long time before asking, how do you know? Soul crystal jade is a treasure of heaven and earth born from the condensed power of the soul, and this soul-detaining tower detains the soul, and the soul crystal jade can resist that confinement force to a certain extent. I can't guarantee 100% success, but not entirely impossible. Hearing Su Han's analysis, a hint of surprise flashed in Tianyu's beautiful eyes. Today's soul-detaining tower is just a piece of debris, and after 500 years of time, the power of confinement has weakened a lot. According to Su Han's statement, it seems really possible. Are these soul crystal jades enough? Tianyue pointed to the soul crystal jades on the ground and asked Su Han. Not enough. Not so far. This is also where Su Han is troubled. This thing is really too difficult to deal with. Hearing this, Tianyu also sighed. If it was her in the past, for things like soul crystal jade, she only needs to say casually, and someone will come to her door the next day. It's okay, I'll figure out a way. Su Han sat back on his bench and began to flip through ancient books. Tianyue looked at Su Han for a long time, then quietly said, why did you help me? With my strength, I can kill you after I get out of trouble. Maybe I'm a nice, helpful guy. Su-han said with a smile. Then I added a sentence in my heart. The bullshit of TM is a good person. If I didn't see you as a lucky person, I would have quit doing it a long time ago. Nice guy? To be a good person in this fantasy world, isn't that purely a big wrong species? Hearing this sentence, Tianyue was stunned for a while. Immediately, she smiled, and she had 2 shallow dimples when she smiled. In fact, after 500 years, she has already figured it out, and she will not kill indiscriminately like before. She was just scaring Su-han just now. If there is such a thing, if Su-han helps her out of trouble, then Su-han will be her lifelong benefactor. However, it is just an expectation. After all, the success rate is not high. Looking at the back of Su-han looking up ancient books, an inexplicable emotion surged in her heart, as if she was moved, something she hadn't seen for a long time or had never felt before. The next day, Su-han fell asleep lying on the counter. Elder Su? A cautious voice woke up Su-han. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the disciple in front of him. I'm sorry, Elder Su, I interrupted your rest. This inner disciple was so polite that he almost cried to death. After paying the bill, the inner disciple looked behind Su-han, and his eyes lit up. Elder Su, is this your daughter? Heard the words. Su-han let out a cry of surprise. What? Daughter? Su-han turned around and realized that Tianyue was standing behind him, helping him sort out the books in front of the counter. Logically speaking, these disciples shouldn't be able to see the existence of Tianyue, because of her strength and her soul body. I was also able to see it because Tianyue was willing to let me see it. He looked Tianyue up and down, and found that she was no longer a soul body, but her own reshaped body. Ah, that's right. Su-han didn't know how to explain for a while, so he could only reply with a smile. After all, Tianyue looks like a girl, which is also in line with her daughter's age. Really? I didn't expect Elder Su to have a family background at such a young age. Su-han could hear the sense of surprise in this disciple's words. It was also the first time he saw such a beautiful girl, and his eyes almost stared straight. Okay, hurry up and copy it. Su-han waved at the disciple and interrupted his gaze. Immediately, the disciple honestly went to copy the exercises. Su-han turned around and asked in surprise, what about you? While tidying up her things, Tianyue said, it's just a new body, I don't have many. Help me, I'll help you too. It's boring to stay here with my soul body all these years. Find something to do for yourself. But, are you so unafraid of being discovered by the higher-ups of the illusory cloud sect? After all, Tianyu's status is special, it would be bad if the higher level of Wanyanzong saw something unusual. Do you think they can figure it out? Hearing this, Su-han realized that he was thinking too much. In her eyes, the Shanshan realm is nothing but ants. If she wants to hide it, no one will find out. But looking back, having such a strong person by her side is also a kind of security, even though she can't leave the Sutra Pavilion. But within the Sutra Pavilion, Su-han is invincible. Yes, invincible. This day, the high-spirited Shao Renlong came to the Tibetan Scripture Pavilion. After the last lesson, he is still grateful to Elder Su here. The exercise he copied is now a small one. This time, he was going to choose a book of martial arts to practice. After all, the intersect grand competition was coming soon, so he had to make a good run, at least in the top 5, or his father would clean him up when he returned home, saying that he was in the sect. Do not do business inside the door. Elder Su, this martial skill, you need to settle it. Shao Renlong came to the counter and said to Su-han. Immediately, after looking at the counter with his eyes, he found a beautiful girl in a red dress. For a moment, he was stunned. He was born in a noble family, and he had never seen any beauties before, but compared with the one in front of him, all of them were rouge and vulgar fans. Su. Elder Su. Is she? Shao Renlong swallowed his saliva, and asked tentatively to Elder Su, his voice trembling. He was afraid of hearing a desperate answer. My daughter. Su-han said casually. After hearing this answer, Shao Renlong was overjoyed. He excitedly grabbed Su-han's hands with an excited and flattering expression. Father-in-law is on top. My name is Shao Renlong, male, 38 years old. Born in Fulong City of the Dagon Empire, his father is General Chong Sheng of the Dagon Empire. He has read history books since he was a child, has good conduct, does not drink alcohol, does not visit kilns, and is honest and pure. Saying that, Shao Renlong became polite in an instant, bowed to Su-han, and almost knelt down to him. After listening, Su-han's whole face turned black. Roll. Come on. Tomorrow I will come to see you old. Shao Renlong knew that he couldn't succeed in one go, so he had to take his time and not rush, so he ran out of the Sutra Pavilion immediately. Elder Su. Do you still lack manpower here? Elder Su. I see that you have been a little tired recently. My father has prepared some Zhang black tea for me. I will bring you some tea tomorrow. You must try it. Elder Su. Do you still need someone here? I'm here to do chores for you. Leave all the dirty work to me. Elder Su. Just now I saw that the floor of the Sutra Pavilion is a bit dirty. I have already mopped it for you just now. Do you think there is any other place for me to clean? Elder Su. Just now I sorted out the bookshelves for you. I also sorted out some places that should be classified. Do you have any other instructions? On this day, Su Han's head will grow bigger. He still underestimated the lethality of Tianyu's beauty to these inner disciples who were ready to move. All the disciples who met Tianyue all regarded Su Han as his prospective father-in-law to please him, and Su Han really wanted to cry without tears. It was finally dark, and the chattering voices in my ears finally disappeared. Father, you are old, how are you? Seeing Su Han rubbing his temples in distress, Tianyue joked. She has lived for hundreds of years, and she has become indifferent to love and love. Although she has never touched marriage, for her, strength is the most important thing. Moreover, Su Han's original intention was to help himself and let him be a father for a while, so it's no big deal. Why, Su Han was going to scold her for why she had to appear in a new body. Isn't this causing trouble for herself? But when the words came to his lips, he still didn't say them out. After all, he couldn't beat her. I, in my soul body, can't exert much strength. The me now, as long as you are in this Sutra Pavilion, I will guarantee your safety. Tianyue gave her reasons. Now Su Han is the only one who has the potential to help her get out of here, and the only one she can trust. She must ensure his absolute safety. Hearing Tianyu's explanation, Su Han also felt much better. For the outside world, it is much better for Tianyue to be her own daughter than her own Taoist companion. After all, there are too many brain-dead red-eyed dogs in this world. What if a brain-dead boy pops up from time to time, falls in love with Tianyue, and provokes himself crazily? Su Han almost vomited in the novels he read in his previous life. In order to avoid such a situation from happening, it would be better for the outside world to let Tianyue be her daughter. I see that you have been stuck in the spiritual sea for some time. Do you feel that no matter how much you practice, you can't break through that hurdle? Tianyue said to Su Han. Su Han was really distressed. Only when he stepped into the Shanshan realm could he stand at the top level of the illusory cloud sect, and he would have greater confidence. The spiritual sea enters the innate world. Need an opportunity. In order to repay you, I will give you an opportunity. You grasp this opportunity, and you have the opportunity to condense a perfect, innate heart. Tianyue said to Su Han. Su Han has heard the saying of innate heart. Every monk with a perfect spiritual sea will condense an innate heart in his dantian when he enters the innate realm. Like the spiritual sea vortex, it is a symbolic thing. For a sword cultivator, the way to condense the innate heart may be to comprehend a higher level of realm and break through naturally. Just need an opportunity. Su Han has never been able to find this opportunity. Opportunity? What opportunity? Su Han suddenly became interested. This is a big guy who surpassed the innate realm. With a wave of Tianyue's hand, there was a white stone floating in front of Su Han. If you look carefully, you can find that there are traces of lightning dancing on the surface. This is. Su Han could clearly feel the terrifying meaning of destruction contained in this stone. This thing is called GLA Chi Z. After you integrate it into your dantian, you will summon GLA. Depending on your talent level, different numbers of heavenly thunders will be summoned. The highest is the 9 tribulation thunders. If you resist the first tribulation thunder, you will be able to condense your innate heart. After resisting the first attack, if you feel that you are not capable of receiving the second attack, you can use spiritual power to shake the Lei Chizi out of the dantian. Tianyue explained to Su Han word by word. Hearing the words, Jia Lei Chizi, and Jia Lei, Su Han thought of something and showed a surprised look. Some time ago, he had only seen this way of breaking through the innate realm in ancient books. According to legend, this method is very ancient, advanced and sacred. Only some ancient big families will use this method, because only those families with a long history will have such a magical thing as GLA Chizi. The Chizi of GLA is said to have drawn the power of GLA and sealed it in a special stone. As for the boss who can extract GLA with bare hands, I am afraid that there are not many people in the entire Daqin Empire. You actually have this kind of thing. Su Han held the Thunder Tribulation Chizi with his hand, and the cold feeling from his palm penetrated his whole body, making his hairs stand on end in an instant. I only have one left. If you can't even take the first tribulation thunder, I won't give you any more. Tianyue spread her hands and said. Although this thing is very precious, in her eyes, it has no value, so give it away if you give it away. Compared with helping him out of trouble, sending this thing is nothing at all. The main reason is that she is also looking forward to whether this man with an extremely strange way of training can withstand a few thunderstorms and condense a perfect innate heart. Because even she only managed 8 ways back then, and she was still a little short of the perfect innate heart. One is enough, totally enough. Su-han still has confidence in himself. If you can get one of this legendary thing, you are already very lucky, and if this thing is put on the market for auction, there will be a lot of commotion, and it will definitely cause a bloodbath, and countless big families will loot it. You can use it in the Sutra Pavilion. I can be your guardian. If you can't catch the lightning, I can diffuse it for you. Otherwise, resisting hard will cause the dantian to shatter. Tianyue confessed to Su-han. When I was resisting the 9th tribulation thunder, if my aunt hadn't helped me resolve it, I would have become a useless person. Used here? Won't this soul-arresting tower affect it? Won't. GLA ignores the soul-detaining tower and directly attacks your dantian without any influence. Tianyue explained. After thinking for a while, Su-han said, forget it, I made a breakthrough here, and I made too much noise. If you break through in the Sutra Pavilion, there will be too much commotion. Moreover, Tianyue is still here. If some old monster is attracted, or the head of Wanyanzong finds out that something is wrong, it will cause a lot of unnecessary troubles. If you break through outside, I can't help you. Tianyu frowned. She was also worried that Su-han would be crippled by the thunderbolt if he fought hard. It's okay. I am a person who cherishes my life. I will never try something that I am not sure about. There is absolutely no problem with this sentence. Su-han seeks stability and steady improvement is the golden mean. Fine. Tianyue did not continue to persuade. It's not too late, just tonight. With that said, Su-han left the Sutra Pavilion. Tianyue watched Su-han leave, and was still a little worried. After leaving the Sutra Pavilion, Su-han followed the darkness and entered the dense forest. Soon, they entered the Tianlan Mountains, which is one of the 5 great mountain ranges of the Dagon Empire. Finally, he found a safe and quiet place, where he sat on a huge qingxi. Looking up, looking at the night, the moonlight was pouring down, lingering around Su-han's body, setting off Su-han very well, as ethereal as a banished fairy. He took out the GLA cheesy. According to the method Tianyu told himself, he inhaled it into his dantian. The moment when GLA cheesy entered Su-han's dantian. Call. A gust of wind, blowing from nowhere, rustled the corners of Su-han's clothes. He looked up, and he could clearly see that the dark clouds in the sky had thickened visibly with the naked eye. If you look carefully, you can see a little bit of lightning beating in the thick black cloud, and its beating frequency seems to be consistent with your own heartbeat. This moment. Tianlan Mountains, at the outskirts. A group of people are walking towards the depths of the mountains. The leader among them was an old man with shriveled and thin cheeks and deep eye sockets. He looked very weak, as if he was about to fall when the wind blows. But the aura he exuded was incomparably frightening. The ferocious beasts around felt the old man's aura and avoided him one after another. This is the coercion of the innate realm, and following behind the old man were a man and 2 women. The man was wearing a gorgeous robe with a little white face and a golden sword hanging from his waist. He kept introducing the Tianlan Mountains to the woman in Sing Yi next to him. Junior sister, I have been to this Tianlan mountain range no less than 10 times. As long as we don't go into the depths, there's no danger. Jugan Xian Linghua, which junior sister is looking for, should be nearby. I bought this information from the Dagon auction house at a huge price. This robed man's aura is not weak, and he has already reached the 8th level of Ji Yu Yuan. It can be seen that this is the pride of a certain sect. The woman in Sing Yi on the side has a delicate face and a noble temperament. Judging from the flattering expression on the man's face, the identity of the woman in Sing Yi must be quite good. However, she didn't seem too interested in this man, so she just nodded to show that she knew. Behind the woman in Sing Yi followed a woman in black, holding a saber, and her cultivation had reached the spirit sea realm. She was watching her back to avoid danger behind her. These 3 people all circle around the woman in Sing Yi, which shows her noble status. Suddenly, the old man who was walking in the front stopped suddenly and looked towards the sky. Old Huang, what's the matter? The robed man asked in surprise. There is an exception. Wait a moment. The old man in the lead frowned as he looked at the black clouds constantly gathering in a certain direction in the sky. He could clearly feel that there was a terrifying sky thunder in the black clouds. The girl in Sing Yi looked at the black clouds that were gathering in the sky, feeling as if the mountain was about to rain and the wind filled the building. She asked the old man, Uncle Huang, is this the legendary tribulation thunder? There are signs of that. The old man is a strong person in the Shanshan realm, but he has never been to this type of tribulation thunder. Could it be that there are strong people breaking through the Zifu realm?
The realm above the Shantian realm is the Zifu realm.
Only one who was congenitally entered the Purple Mansion would have a certain chance of causing calamity thunder, but the probability is very small. Out of 10,000 monks who are congenitally perfect, only one may be able to attract calamity thunder. After all, the appearance of GLA means that the rules of heaven and earth will be obliterated, and it means that the talent of those who break through is extremely high. Then shall we continue to move forward? The woman in Xing Yi, named Lu Shui, is the core disciple of the Haoyue school, and the Haoyue school is also one of the 7 great schools, but its overall strength is much higher than that of the Wanyan school, which is also one of the 7 great schools, and can be ranked in the top 3. No better than others, from the fact that a strong person in the innate realm condescends to escort a junior to experience this, it can be seen how powerful Haoyuezong is. And Haoyuezong is a great sect with the existence of the supreme power of the Purple Mansion. How far is it? The old man turned his head and asked the young man in the robe behind him. The young man in robes is named Lu Dun, and he is also a core disciple of Haoyuezong. Among the core disciples, he is also an outstanding existence. He has no background, so he is keen to curry favor with Lu Shui. If he can get Lu Shui, then his future will be soaring. Just 100 meters ahead, very close. Lu Dun didn't want to give up this opportunity to please Lu Shui, and he had spent a lot of money to inquire about this news. Let's move on, a little slower. The senior who is crossing the catastrophe, we can't disturb him, we don't know if he is from the Dagon Empire. I'm afraid he won't give us Haoyuezong face. Although Wang Shidan is a strong person in the Shanshan realm, and also holds a high position in Haoyuezong, as long as he is in the Dagon Empire, he will sell his face, but he is afraid of being a strong person from other places. This moment. Su Han was still sitting on Qingxi, he was constantly adjusting his breath, preparing for the next tribulation thunder. This is an opportunity for him to break through the innate realm, and he must grasp it well. Time passed by every minute and every second, and the black clouds in the sky were constantly gathering, and he could already feel the powerful meaning of destruction. Bang! A dull thunder came from the clouds, frightening many beasts in the mountains to flee. Lu Shui and the others finally arrived at their destination, which was a pool of water. In the middle of the pool, there is a white-purple lotus with purple leaves and white stamens, surrounded by aura. The moment she saw this lotus, Lu Shuimei's eyes lit up, and the shape was exactly the same as that described in the ancient books. This is the 9 sweet immortal lingua. She searched for more than a dozen auction houses, but none of them sold the Jugenxian lingua. In desperation, she could only look for it in the mountains. After finding the Jugenxian lingua, she can ask her master to refine the 7th grade Biloxinling pill, and her chance of breaking through the spirit sea realm will increase by 30%. It also means that after getting this 9 sweet immortal lingua, she is equivalent to half of her foot stepping into the spirit sea realm. Junior sister, wait for me where you are, and I'll fetch it for you. Lu Dun on the side burst into breath and flew towards the pond. The moment he approached the pond, he used his peripheral vision to see a black shadow appearing in the pond, and in an instant, a powerful breath burst out. Careful. Come back. With a wave of Wang Shidan's hand, the spiritual energy wrapped Lu Dun and forcibly pulled him back. Next second. A giant python poked its head out of the pond, spitting snake letters, and looked down at the people at Wang Shidan. The scales on the skin are purple-black, like a square of solid armor, the pupils are emerald green, and the head is raised, 1 knot higher than the surrounding trees, exuding a terrifying aura. This is a 5th-order ferocious beast. Huang Shitan's expression was extremely solemn, his face was so ugly that it was about to drip water. A 5th-order ferocious beast is equivalent to the innate realm of human beings, and because the physical fitness and innate conditions of a ferocious beast are much higher than that of human monks, a 5th-order ferocious beast is much stronger than an innate monk of the same level. What makes people even more desperate is that this ferocious beast is a 5th-order adult ferocious beast, which is equivalent to the innate 8th level of a human monk. And the Yellowstone altar is only at the 6th level of innate level, so there is absolutely no chance of winning against this fierce python. It would be fine if he was here alone. Now that Lu Shui is still here, he can't let her escape, otherwise he won't be able to survive in the Daqin Empire. I didn't expect that there was a 5th-order jade blood python in this place. At this time, the woman in black, who was still behind Lu Shui, stood at the front just like Huang Shidan, and she had to protect Lu Shui's safety. Sha Qiyue, I'll attract its attention for a while, and you take the young lady out of here. Huang Shidan waved his hand, and an axe appeared in his hand. This axe was big and heavy, and it formed a sense of contrast in the hands of the thin old man. A slender willow sword appeared in the hands of the woman in black, and this was the only way at the moment. Miss, come with me. The woman in black didn't intend to control Lu Dun's life or death. She took Lu Shui's hand and was about to leave. Seeing this, Lu Dun, whose legs were trembling with fear, followed behind Sha Chiyue. This was the first time he saw a fifth-order beast, and it scared him to death. The sound of shock came from the rear. It can be seen that Wang Shidan and the fierce python have been fighting together. At this time, Sha Chiyue felt the aura around her and became fierce. In the next second, her beautiful eyes froze. She stopped, and looked at the shadow in front of her. Senior Sister Sha. What's wrong? Lu Shui was also a little frightened. This was the first time she encountered such a dangerous situation. Her mind went blank. Soon. In front of Sha Chiyue, a huge black shadow hovering slowly appeared, and through the moonlight, they could see clearly that it was also a fifth-order jade blood python. The battle in the rear is still going on, that is to say, this is the other side. It turned out that there were two fierce pythons here, one male and one female. Looking at this ferocious python, Lu Shui and Lu Dun felt despair, while Sha Chiyue clenched the hilt of his sword, making a decision in his heart. Lu Dun grabbed Sha Chiyue's hand and stammered, "Senior Sister Sha, please, help me, I don't want to die." This appearance is completely different from the high-spirited him in front of him. And Sha Chiyue just shook off his hand coldly. At this time, she was still counting on others to save her, and she didn't even have the courage to fight. "If you want to live, take out your weapon," Sha Chiyue snorted coldly. After being yelled at, Lu Dun hurriedly took out the sword at his waist. His legs were trembling, and he couldn't even hold the sword firmly. Lu Shui on the side also took out her weapon. Although she was afraid, she didn't even have the courage to fight, which formed a sharp contrast with Lu Dun. Sha Chiyue launched the attack first. She was very fast. Almost instantly, she came to the back of the fierce python's neck, which was its only weak point. She clenched the hilt of the sword tightly, her breath burst out, and she stabbed down with the sword. And at the moment when the sword tip was about to pierce, a black shadow swept her away at an unbelievably fast speed. After being hit by the fierce python's tail, Sha Chiyue flew backwards and hit the ground heavily. The coercion shook, and Lu Dun was so frightened that he fell to his knees on the ground, and Lu Shui was also knocked back several steps. The gap is too big. Sha Chiyue at the Lingai realm is not even a one-shot enemy. Am I going to die here too? Sha Chiyue was lying on the ground, clutching her chest in pain. She was not afraid of death, but she was unwilling to die in this place. She still had many things that she didn't have time to do. At this time, boom, a roar of tribulation thunder came from the clouds and struck down towards the mountains. A thunderbolt fell from the sky and struck somewhere in the mountain range not far from Lu Shui and the others. The powerful meaning of destruction came afterwards, and the vicious python was frightened, backed up several steps, and looked in a certain direction with fear on its face. At this time, by the pond, under the deterrence of this tribulation thunder, the ferocious python also stopped attacking, and looked towards a certain direction with fear on its face. At this moment, they all looked somewhere and saw a man holding a piece of qingxi. With their backs to them, they could only see their backs. The terrifying thunderbolt was about to strike the man. Everyone even forgot to fight in the predicament they were in. They stared at the man's back, wanting to see if he could catch the thunderstorm. Next second, the tribulation thunder fell on the man's body, like the spring rain falling on the sweet rain. It was instantly dispelled, and not even a trace of breath escaped. The scene of this scene made everyone stay in place. Who is this mysterious man? Such a terrifying tribulation thunder, so easy to take over. Is this breaking through the Shanshan realm, or breaking through the Zifu realm? Because when Su Han broke through, the seal was released and his strength was fully unleashed, so in the eyes of Wang Shidan and others, Su Han's cultivation was the consummation of the spiritual sea. Soon, the three of Sha Chiyue were forced back to the pond by the other one, because under the influence of the thunderbolt, the vicious python was a little frightened, so it was ready to force these intruders into its own territory, and with its husband solve it together. After seeing Sha Chiyue and others being forced back, Wang Shidan's heart fell to the bottom of the valley. The two fifth-order fierce pythons are already in a desperate situation. However, because the mysterious man was breaking through not far away, the two vicious pythons did not dare to act rashly, but they did not intend to let this group of hateful humans go. At the same time, illusory cloud sect. Tibetan scripture pavilion. Tianyue stood in front of the window, staring at the sky. After seeing Su Han take over the first thunderbolt so easily, his eyes are full of appreciation. You know, when he broke through the innate, he was not as easy to catch the first thunderbolt. Could it be that the little elder she met in the Sutra Pavilion was actually a peerless genius? After receiving the first tribulation thunder, in fact, he can barely step into the Shanshan realm. But she knew that Su Han would not give up easily. After all, the more thunderstorms you receive, the more benefits you will have, and the more perfect your innate heart will be. Tianlin Mountains. Su Han, who was the first to rob the thunder, already felt that the barrier that stuck him had been broken. In other words, if you stop yourself, you can break through to the innate realm. After all, one of the next tribulation thunders will be stronger than the other, and if one doesn't pay attention, he will turn himself into a useless person. Obviously, it is impossible for Su Han to give up so easily. He even lays a good foundation. Now that he suffers a little bit and takes a little risk, his upper limit will be higher in the future. In this way, he adjusted his state and prepared to take the second tribulation thunder. Soon, the second tribulation thunder struck down. The second tribulation thunder was obviously twice as strong as the first one. Huang Shidan and the others were stunned when they saw the mysterious man who had received the first tribulation thunder and was about to receive the second tribulation thunder. Is this really breaking through the innate realm? I once broke through the Shanshan realm, and I broke through very easily, didn't I? At this time, he also thought of something. He remembered that some disciples of the ancient clan would use some secret methods to attract thunder, and then the innate heart they created would be even more perfect. Unexpectedly, he actually saw it with his own eyes today. Could it be that that man is someone like the holy son of an ancient clan? Because according to what he learned, there is no force in the entire Daqin Empire that has the qualifications and background to call GLA to break through the innate, at least he has never seen it. However, what surprised him was, why did the clothes on the man feel so familiar? Is it my own illusion? Xia Qiyue and Lu Shui were also dumbfounded looking at that figure from behind. Maybe it was the first time I saw such a scene, or maybe I was amazed by this breakthrough method, or maybe it was something else. And Lu Dun looked at the man's back with a dark face. After all, he was ashamed to the extreme just now. When the second tribulation thunder fell on Su Han, he is still easy to follow. Seeing this scene, Lu Shui and the others still haven't reacted. Has the other party successfully resolved it? They could feel the meaning of destruction in the tribulation thunder. If it struck themselves, they would probably be wiped out in an instant. Next. Third way, fourth way, fifth way, seventh way, until the eighth tribulation thunder, Su Han followed all of them. However, when Su Han received the eighth GLA, his condition was already very bad. After seeing the mysterious man catch several lightning strikes in a row, everyone became numb. What kind of a peerless monster is this? The commotion caused by Su Han is getting bigger and bigger. Many sects near the Tianlin Mountains have noticed it. Over there, the Tianlin Mountains, this terrifying tribulation thunder, could it be that some strong man is breaking through the Zifu realm? Such a terrifying tribulation thunder is at least in the Zifu realm. I don't know if it is a senior expert of that sect. If it's a strong person from a certain sect, if he successfully breaks through to the Purple Mansion realm, that sect will rise to the top. Among the 7 sects near the Tianlin Mountains, not only the Wanyan sect, but also the Yangan sect. The comprehensive strength of Yang Yanzong ranks 4th among the 7 sects, and Wanyanzong ranks 5th, overwhelming Wanyanzong. Moreover, Wanyanzong and Yang Yanzong have always been fighting openly and secretly. Yang Yanzong. In front of a large hall, a burly man was looking at the sky. That direction, could it be that Yunfang broke through? Probably not. When I saw him a few years ago, there was still a certain distance from the Zifu realm. It shouldn't be so fast. Master, do you want this old slave to go and have a look? Behind the burly man, an old man in black robe appeared at some point. No need. If it's not Yunfang, but some senior expert, you will get into trouble if you rush to inquire like this. I still hope it's not Yunfang. If it's him, we probably won't be able to overwhelm him with the illusory cloud sect. The burly man sighed. A strong man in the Zifu realm is enough to change the status of the sect. This is the Purple Mansion realm. But they never imagined that this was just a movement made by breaking through the innate realm. If you really know, you may be even more shocked. After all, breaking through the Shanshan realm has caused such a big commotion, and the potential is so great that I can't even imagine. Breaking through the Purple Mansion realm is only a matter of time. Sometimes, what is scary is not strength, but potential that cannot be suppressed. Illusory Cloud Sect. On Tian Yun Mountain. In a pavilion, the great elder stood behind a middle-aged Taoist priest. The middle-aged Taoist wears a very ordinary Taoist robe, which is thrown on the street, and the elder has a face that will be lost to everyone when thrown on the street. With his hands behind his back, he muttered, "This is the 9th way." I don't know if he can go on. After the words fell, Zhao Changhe also echoed, "It is difficult to estimate. We are working hard on the empire. When did such a character appear? Master, is this breaking through the Purple Mansion? Even Zhao Changhe couldn't tell whether this was a vision of heaven and earth created by breaking through the purple mansion. No, this is just breaking through the innate realm. The middle-aged Taoist narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice. Innate realm? Can the Shanshan realm produce 9 thunderbolts? Zhao Changhe was very surprised. He is also a monk of the Shanshan realm, so of course he understands the Shanshan realm. Jia lay cheesy. That kind of thing should not appear in the Dagon Empire. Although the middle-aged Taoist is much younger than Zhao Changhe, in terms of experience and knowledge, he does not know how much higher than Zhao Changhe. You mean, that person is not from the Dagon Empire? Zhao Changhe understood the meaning. It should come from an ancient family with a strong background. In short, we can't afford to mess with it, we just need to watch from a distance, and don't use divine sense to inquire. It's better for us not to know the other party's identity and appearance. The middle-aged Taoist said quietly. Inner door, Sutra Pavilion. Tianyue looked at the sky, clenched her hands unconsciously, and there was shock, worry, and anticipation in her eyes. She really wanted to know if Su Han could survive the 9th thunderstorm that even her former self could not resist. Now, she can only pray. After all, she can't leave the Sutra Pavilion, and she can't be his guardian. At the same time, sitting on the Qingxi, Su Han closed his eyes and meditated. He didn't know that he had made a lot of noise and caused commotion in all directions. The 9th tribulation thunder in the sky is constantly brewing. He was still struggling with whether he should resist the 9th way. After thinking for a few breaths, he suddenly opened his eyes, looked towards the sky, and his eyes became sharp. Afraid? Su Han is not afraid, although he is a dog, he has never been afraid. The opportunity is right in front of him. After passing this step, he can get the perfect innate heart. He has reached this step, how could Su Han give up? He frantically poured several chi-returning pills into his mouth, adjusting his state as quickly as possible. Soon, the 9th tribulation thunder had grown to a critical value. Boom! A roaring sound resounded through the sky. The 9th tribulation struck by lightning. At this moment, Su Han only felt that the blood in his whole body was flowing backwards, and the sea of consciousness was shaking. He could clearly feel that this 9th tribulation thunder was more than twice as strong as the previous 8 combined. He even felt a breath of death from it, the kind of destruction that wanted to kill Su Han. Su Han had a feeling that if he took the tribulation thunder forcibly, his dantian would be destroyed at least, and his body would die at worst. This feeling is very strong. In other words, he can't fight hard, he must not resist hard, otherwise he will definitely fail. This 9th tribulation thunder is stronger than what I have ever had. Can he really be able to carry it? Looking at the tribulation thunder, Tianyue clenched her fingers unconsciously, her eyes full of worry. This level of tribulation thunder, if there is no guardian, the chance of successfully resisting is less than 10%, and it is close to death. Master, this tribulation thunder is a bit too terrifying. Looking at the tribulation thunder, Zhao Changhe swallowed unconsciously. I also have some expectations. What kind of potential is this holy son of the ancient clan? The middle-aged Taoist narrowed his eyes and murmured. Boom! Jia Lei rushed towards Su Han. The space that Jia Lei passed through even appeared slightly distorted, showing the horror of its power. Before he got close to Su Han's 100 meters, he already felt like his whole body was about to fall apart. No. No, that does not work. Su Han suddenly realized that this kind of forceful resistance is absolutely impossible. Suddenly, he seemed to understand something. With a wave of his hand, a long sword appeared in his hand, and he raised his head to stare at the tribulation thunder that was slashing towards him. Immediately, he slowly raised his right hand, pointing the tip of his sword at the tribulation thunder. Next second, without hesitation, he just jumped into the air, holding the sword and stabbing towards Jia Lei. Seen from a distance, the night was as thick as the sky. Su Han held a long sword and rushed towards Jia Lei. Under the huge Jia Lei, Su Han's body seemed very small, like a firefly streamer, about to collide. Like the thunder of the gods. What is he going to do? Crazy. Stop. Tianyue looked at Su Han and didn't know how to resist, but prepared to fight back against Jia Lei with a sword. Master, this is him. Zhao Changhe's face turned pale with fright when he saw this scene. Have no idea. I don't know what he is planning to do with this move. There is an excited look in the pupils of the middle-aged Taoist. He may maybe be able to see the rise of a peerless genius. Lu Shui and the others seemed to have forgotten their situation and stared at the sky. They seemed to be witnessing something, with shock and expectation in their hearts. And under the aura of this thunderbolt, the 2 green blood pythons shrank into a ball in fear, fearing that the thunderbolt would hit him. The closer Su Han got to Jia Lei, he found that his condition was getting better and better. His eyes lit up. Sure enough, this tribulation thunder must take the initiative to fight, in order to have a chance of survival. With this sword, he showed his full strength without reservation. This was his strongest blow. Jung. The sword and the robbery collided together, making a sound like a dust drum, which echoed in the Tianlin Mountains, scaring countless beasts to crawl on the ground, trembling. Compared with Jia Lei, Su Han's tiny body is like a mayfly shaking a tree. But everything that happened in the next second, it will become an indelible memory in the hearts of everyone who saw this scene. I saw that terrifying tribulation thunder, under the man's sword. It was shattered and turned into little lightning bolts, lingering around the man. The night was like ink, and it became the background board of the man. He held a long sword and stood quietly in the void, with streamers lingering around his body. At this moment, it seemed to be a painting. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect this man to succeed, let alone succeed in this way. Pointing to the sky with a sword, smashing thunder with a sword, what a boldness, what a feat. All the big and small sects around the Tianlin Mountains were silent, they didn't know what happened. They only know that there is a supremely strong man in the Tianlin Mountains. Yang Yanzong. Seeing this scene, the burly man sighed. This person is definitely not from the Dagon Empire. I have seen the proud sons of the Dagon Empire, at least I have never seen such an amazing person. It's okay, it's not Yunfang, nor is it someone under Yunfang's sect, otherwise. The status of the 7 great sects will soon be reshuffled. The burly middle-aged murmured. Illusory cloud sect. Tian Yun Mountain. Neither Zhao Chonghe nor the middle-aged Taoist spoke, but their expressions were extremely shocked. Silence speaks louder than sound here. After a while, Zhao Chonghe asked, Sect leader, such people are talents of the world. Shall we go make friends? Anyway, it's not far from our sect, lest others get there first. The words fell. The middle-aged Taoist saw it very openly, he waved his hands and said, No need. Those kind of people are not something we can make friends with. Just do what you have to do, good. But when Zhao Chonghe looked at his back in the night, he always had a familiar feeling. Because you can't use your spiritual sense to inquire, you can only look at it from countless kilometers away, and you can only see a vague figure from the back. But after thinking about it carefully, it should be my own illusion. After all, those characters are not within my reach. Tianyue looked at Su Han's back and didn't speak for a long time. No one knew what she was thinking, but there was an extra look in her pupils. And everyone in Lushui, who was in the Tianlin Mountains, was already dumbfounded. They had never seen such a bizarre scene. Lu Shui looked at the man's back, her beautiful eyes were full of splendor, which became more and more intense. Sha Chiyue, who was at the side, looked at the man's back without saying a word. She had never seen such an amazing man. Perhaps it was because of her admiration for great strength, her eyes gradually changed. When they came back to their senses, they found that the man had disappeared into the night sky. Immediately, everyone lowered their heads, looked around, and found that the 2 green blood pythons had been scared away. Just the breath, scared away 2 5th-level ferocious pythons, which shows how terrifying that man is. Unintentionally, that mysterious man became their savior. Even though the man didn't know that he saved them, they were indeed out of danger. With a wave of Wang Shitan's hand, after taking away the Jugenxian Linghua in the pond, he said to the people who were still stunned, Hurry up. Lu Shui and Sha Chiyue deeply remembered that back view, because he was their savior. For Lu Shui, that mysterious man not only saved her life, but also helped her get the 9 sweet immortal Linghua. She didn't know how to repay such a great kindness. But if they meet one day, she will do her best to report her kindness. Only, maybe not that day. After all, that man is probably not from the Dagon Empire. But Lu Dun was not so grateful. He just wanted to get out of this ghostly place quickly, and his life was the most important thing. However, after today's performance, it is definitely impossible for me in Lu Shui. It's not bad if the other party doesn't hate me. After Su Han left the Tianlin Mountains, only a dozen breaths have passed. A figure slowly walked out of the void. After the figure walked out, the surrounding spiritual energy lingered around the figure, as if it was swarming him. I can't see the face clearly, but I can see the stalwart shoulders, standing on the void, like a towering mountain. He looked up at the sky. The black clouds in the night sky had not completely dissipated, and there was still a little bit of thunder. After looking for a long time, he frowned, sighed faintly, and disappeared in place. Su Han concealed his breath and returned directly to the illusory cloud sect. After entering the Sutra Pavilion, he saw that Tianyue was not asleep, waiting for him. Congratulations, you have entered the Shanshan realm. Hearing this, Su Han smiled and said, Thank you very much, it wasn't for your help, I don't know how long I'll be stuck. I have to say that your talent is so strong that it is rare even for me. With your talent, you shouldn't be living in this place. Tianyue was also a little puzzled. With Su Han's talent, he could make a fortune in the Daqin Empire. Even if he left the Daqin Empire, he would still have a seat. Why are you willing to be an elder of the Scripture Pavilion in this small sect? The road to immortality is too long. When is the head? I am a person who is easy to be satisfied. You see, I stay here, clock in at work every day, and sleep after get off work. Isn't it very comfortable? Cultivating immortals, isn't that just the word coziness? Hearing what Su Han said, Tian Yu unconsciously gave him a blank look. It's the first time I've heard Li Ping said so fresh and refined. However, she had to admit that although Su Han seemed to be relaxed and comfortable all day long, his cultivation had improved rapidly. Just from the courage and sharpness with which he used his sword against Jia Lei just now, regardless of the danger of his own life, it can be seen that he is not a person who is content with the status quo. However, this is the way of life and cultivation of other people, and of course I don't want to ask too much about it. You are the first and only cultivator I have seen, who resisted the ninth tribulation thunder and stepped into the Shanshan realm. Your current state should not be called innate but perfect innate. Hearing Tianyu's words, Su Han was also deeply moved. He could clearly feel that his innate first level was much stronger than other innate first level, even second innate third level. This is the importance of laying a good foundation. You helped me, and I will do my best to help you out of trouble. After getting along until now, he also feels that Tianyue is a friend worth making, and she has helped him a lot. Even if it is not for feedback and rewards, Su Han will help her out of trouble. Talk later. In fact, Tianyue also took a lot of perspective. Although she really wanted to leave here, 500 years of loneliness had killed too much hope for her. The next day, Su Han returned to normal work life. However, due to the appearance of Tianyue, the number of people in the Sutra Pavilion has skyrocketed several times. On weekdays, only a few dozen disciples come to the Sutra Pavilion. But today, 200 or 300 disciples came here. Moreover, everyone was courting Su Han. These disciples didn't even need Su Han to do it. They put the spirit stones neatly by themselves, then copied them and put them away by themselves. At a glance, you can see several disciples tidying up the bookshelves, sorting the books on the bookshelves, and even a few disciples are wiping the dust on the bookshelves, exhaling while wiping. That is serious, and some disciples are mopping the floor. The floor of the entire hall is so clean that it can be reflected as a mirror. At this moment, what is Xiao Renlong, who is arrogant and domineering in the inner sect, doing at this moment? Squeezing Su Han's shoulders. Father-in-law, how is this strength? Su Han really couldn't stand Xiao Renlong's soft-heartedness. Father-in-law, look, when will you go to Fulong City to play around, and bring Xiao Yue along? This Wanyanzong is so bored. My son-in-law will take you to relax. It's also a coincidence. My father recently returned from a victorious battle and brought back a pot of peerless tea, just waiting for you to grow old. While pinching his shoulders, Xiao Renlong chattered non-stop and at the same time looked at the girl who was bowing her head and writing at the desk not far away from the corner of her eye. She's so beautiful, I've never seen a woman who makes my heart beat like this in my life. Call father-in-law again, and I'll throw you out. Su Han frowned slightly. Okay, father-in-law. After being scolded, Xiao Renlong still smiled and became more attentive. At this time, Su Han thought of something. He used Sky Eye on Xiao Renlong soon. Text messages about Xiao Renlong appeared in his mind. Name: Xiao Renlong. Age: 38. Strength: Guyuan triple. Luck level: Pale Gold. Life evaluation: this person has had a rough life and has a rebellious personality, but after experiencing major changes in his family, his temperament will change drastically, becoming calm and introverted. He has good potential. Recent encounter: my younger sister is seriously ill. Time is running out, too late to see her for the last time. After reading it, I found that Xiao Renlong was actually a pale golden luck talent. This is the first time he has seen a golden talent after he has been in the inner sect for so long. Although it is only light golden, it is also golden luck. And being able to get the evaluation of good potential from the system shows that Xiao Renlong will also be a great talent in the future. In his latest encounter, it turned out that his younger sister was seriously ill, but he didn't know it, so he couldn't catch up with her for the last time. This is also a special investment. After the evaluation of his life, he will only transform and mature after experiencing major changes in his family. Could it be that his sister died? There is also this possibility. Little dragon. When was the last time you went home? Su Han asked. Hearing this, Xiao Renlong thought about it for a while, and said, it should have been 2 or 3 years. Why don't you want to go home and have a look? I'm the only younger sister in the family, and my younger sister is relatively withdrawn. I don't want anyone to disturb her. I plan to wait a few months for my father to come home, and then I will go back. When Xiao Renlong talked about his sister, his expression became much gentler, which shows that he is a madman who spoils his sister. Little dragon. Didn't you say that there is a jug of century-old wine in your family? Recently, I'm also hungry, and I want to try it. Hearing this, Xiao Renlong was overjoyed. Does my father-in-law agree with me? Okay. I'm leaving tomorrow. No, I'm leaving now. Wait for me. I'll come back tomorrow. Wait for me. We too have a good drink. Saying that, Xiao Renlong ran out of the Buddhist scriptures pavilion in a hurry. Looking at Xiao Renlong's back, Su Han also sighed, because he knew that when he went back, he would see his sister for the last time. Life is impermanent, and parting is one of the most painful things in life. Even if there is no reward, Su Han will remind him. After all, one of the most painful things in life is not being able to see the last side of your most important person. Several days passed. Su Han didn't even see Xiao Renlong coming back. But Su Han also guessed it. After returning, he found that his sister was seriously ill. This night, Su Han was meditating in the Sutra Pavilion, and in his mind, a systematic broadcast sound appeared. Congratulations to the host. Successful investment, get feedback rewards. 1. 3 years of cultivation experience. 2. 8 Emperor Star Fist, TN tier top grade. 3. Increase lifespan by 100 years. Do you want to receive it now? After watching the reward, Su Han's eyes lit up. Not only did he acquire a high-level martial skill, but he also gained a 100-year lifespan. This is the first time he has invested in the special reward of longevity yuan. Moreover, it is still a full 100 years of life. Isn't the ultimate goal of cultivating immortals to live forever? Cultivating immortality and immortality, immortality and immortality, and longevity with the sky are the ultimate pursuit goals of immortals. After all, no matter how powerful you were during your lifetime, after 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or even an era, you will eventually become a handful of loess and dissipate in the world. Therefore, longevity is very important to a monk. Sometimes, when cultivating immortals to the end, it is all about longevity, who can live the longest. Even if I can't beat you now, after you die, I will be able to kill you, just like the saying, when I beat you to death, I will be invincible. Therefore, Su Han is extremely happy to get this 100 years of life. The 8 Emperor Star Fist is a boxing method, and it is also a martial skill of the heavens. The harvest is quite rich. In the entire illusory cloud sect, those who can practice martial arts at the sky rank are only those in the upper ranks, and most of the elders practice at the earth rank. After absorbing the insights of 3 years of cultivation, Su Han's aura suddenly rose sharply, and he successfully broke through to the second level of innate. Su Han's breakthrough caught Tianyu's attention not far away. She looked at Su Han, her beautiful eyes were full of astonishment. This speed of cultivation is really scary, right? He has only set foot in the Shanshan realm for a few days, and broke through another small realm. This cultivation speed can also be ranked at the top of her clan. It's a pity that the family has changed a lot, and now I don't know what it will look like. Otherwise, when she escapes from trouble one day, she will definitely consider taking him back to her family. There is some news about Soul Crystal Jade. After a while, I'll go down the mountain to have a look. Su Han was also rumored by the manager of the auction house yesterday, saying that he had found out about Soul Crystal Jade, and that he would be notified after getting the exact source. This kind of thing should be very expensive. I have plenty of spirit stones here. Let me know if it's not enough. Tianyue said to Su Han. It would be best if this kind of thing could be bought with Lingxi, but Su Han was afraid that Lingxi would not be able to buy it. After all, not everything in this world can be bought with spirit stones. By the way, I want to ask you a question. Su Han said to Tianyue. How many lifespan do you have in total for a strong man in the Shattered Realm? The words fell. Tianyue was a little strange. A normal strong man in the Shattered Realm doesn't have any old diseases. If he lives peacefully, he can live for 10,000 years without any problem. But most of them can live for 5,000 years, which is considered a long life. Hearing this, Su Han was shocked. 1,000 years. My dear. This gap is too big. His innate realm only has 1,000 years of lifespan. But why are you asking this? Don't worry, you have created a perfect innate heart, and your lifespan is at least 500 years longer than ordinary innate monks. And, according to your way of self-cultivation and self-cultivation, you can live a 2,000-year-old life easily. What? Already worried that I don't have many years to live? Tianyue said with a joke. Huh? Only 2,000 years? Then soak wolfberries in the thermos tomorrow. After hearing about her own longevity, Su Han felt an inexplicable lie in his heart. It seems that he must start to maintain his health. Soak goji berries in a thermos. Goji berries. You are really. For a moment, Tianyue didn't know how to say Su Han. The next day, Su Han brought a special thermos cup made by himself, filled with the best goji berries, and took a sip while reading a book. These days, Su Han is going to test one of his guesses. Successful investment, get 10 years of life. Successful investment, get 50 years of life. In just 1 week, Su Han increased his lifespan by 200 years. This also conformed to the conjecture in his mind. For any investment related to Shoyuan, farewell to life and death, not sleeping well. The end is approaching. Among the feedback rewards, you will get the special reward of increasing your lifespan. Just like one day, after Su Han invested in a Qi and Blood Dragon pill, for an old elder in the sect, he directly obtained 50 years of lifespan. Qi Shui Long pill can promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis, increase the power of qi and blood in the body, and even have some, that side, effects. That old elder, after taking the Qi Shui Long pill, became much more energetic, and even went down the mountain for a few days, trying to figure out what he was doing with his knees. After returning, the old elder secretly asked Su Han if he still had such good things. It has been just 1 month since the discovery of this targeted investment. Su Han's lifespan directly increased by 500 years. The strength of cultivation has also steadily increased from the 2nd level of innate to the 3rd level of innate. Of course, Su Han doesn't just care about increasing his lifespan, but also needs to improve his own strength. While increasing his lifespan, he also strengthens his strength. Wouldn't it be nice to use both? Now, Su Han focuses on self-cultivation. Elder Su, the Intersect Grand Competition is coming soon, and I won't be able to come to the Sutra Library to help you tidy up the bookshelves recently. Elder Su, the Intersect Grand Competition is coming up, and I have to devote myself to the challenge. During this period of time, it's fortunate that you always clean up by yourself. In winter, heavy snow falls from the sky, covering the mountains with a layer of silver makeup. The Intersect Grand Competition is also approaching, and the selection of the outer sect is about to start, and the traffic in the Sutra Pavilion has decreased a lot. Almost no one came, and all the disciples are preparing for the battle. The outer disciples are preparing to attack the inner sect, while the inner sect disciples are preparing to compete for a higher ranking in the inner sect competition, striving to become core disciples as soon as possible. The Sutra Pavilion was immediately clean. Su Han stood at the door, looked outside, looked at the white snow in front of him, and sighed. The current disciples are all curly, much more curly than we were then. Time flies by like a flash, and before you know it, the competition is over. The list was revealed, and Su Han was at the top of the list, seeing a familiar name. Top of the outer sect, Zhang Shan, leader of the inner sect, Lin Wushou. After seeing these two names, Su Han showed surprise, but soon calmed down, as expected. These two people are the objects of their investment. Zhang Shan, golden talent, and Yi Wushou is stronger, purple talent. The name, Lin Wushou, should be his pseudonym. He should have a past that he doesn't want to recall. In just a few short months, the two have risen rapidly. Sure enough, a person with such luck can rise at an unimaginable speed. Zhang Shan has already set foot in the pulse condensing state, won one of the outer sect competitions in one fell swoop, and has entered the inner sect. And Lin Wushou, even more terrifying, directly solidified the 4th level. One must know that he had only gathered qi a few months ago, and he hadn't even reached the condensed pulse yet. At that time, he was still a target of bullying in the inner sect. The speed of this rise really shocked Su Han, and he had to sigh. It is worthy of the talent of purple luck. After the big competition, the Sutra Pavilion became much more crowded. Some disciples looked happy. It should be that they have achieved good rankings in the competition, while some disciples did not say a word. It seemed that they were frustrated in the competition. However, they are all discussing two people. One is Zhang Shan and the other is Lin Wushou. Lin Wushou is really terribly strong. No one can last a round under his sword. That's right, it's outrageous. They all use one sword to defeat the enemy. I can still remember the feeling of oppression. I remember that Lin Wushou, isn't he a low-level disciple who is unknown and has not yet congealed his pulse? How come? I don't know either. What if people have been hiding their cultivation? Just wait for the blockbuster in the big competition. By the way, have you heard? A dark horse named Zhang Shan also appeared in the outer sect. He is also terrifyingly strong. I heard that he was crushed all the way in the outer sect competition, and now he has entered the inner sect. That's right, Lin Wushou and Zhang Shan are freaks with terrifying potential. I recently heard a gossip that the Hidden Sword Villa has noticed Lin Wushou. Really or not, Hidden Sword Villa. I don't know, I've heard of it too. I remember that the last person who entered Hidden Sword Villa was 100 years ago. Today, the two names Su Han heard the most are Zhang Shan and Lin Wushou. End of workday. Just when Su Han was about to close, a burly figure appeared at the gate. Su Han took a closer look and found that it was none other than Zhang Shan who was in the limelight. Elder Su, can I come in and sit down? Zhang Shan showed a simple and honest smile. Seeing this, Su Han smiled, come in. Xiao Yu, bring a pot of tea. Hearing this, Tianyue gave Su Han a blank look, but still brought a pot of tea. Thanks. Zhang Shan nodded politely to Tianyue. Seeing that Zhang Shan and Tianyue didn't show any abnormalities, it can be seen from this point that he is a person with a calm personality, free from outside influence, and can accomplish great things. Unlike those disciples in the inner sect, when they saw Tianyue, they couldn't even walk. Elder Su, who is this sister? My daughter, Su Yu. After the words fell, Zhang Shan stood up, clasped his fists politely to Tianyue and said, Zhang Shan, I met Miss Yu. Seeing this, Tianyue just nodded and went about her own business. Not bad, I haven't seen you for a few months, so I've improved a lot. Su Han took a sip of tea and said, thanks to Elder Su Han's kindness and support, I will never forget Elder Su's care for me in my life. This sentence is Zhang Shan's sincere words. During the most difficult time in the outer sect, if Elder Su hadn't often helped him, he might have given up on the road of cultivating immortals. It's just a little busy, it's just you who are willing to work hard. Su Han waved his hand and said with a smile, after I went to the outer sect to practice for a period of time, I also got a lot of adventures. I was lucky to break through to the current level. After I came back, I found that Elder Su was no longer in the inner sect. When I inquired, it turned out that Elder Su had been promoted. Congratulations. Zhang Shan is a man of few words outside, but when he is with Su Han, he will open his heart and speak his mind. What is the promotion? It's just another place to retire. In the future, when I get old, get sick and die, you have to find a clean resting place for me, an old man. The words fell. Zhang Shan hurriedly said, Elder Su, you are tough and handsome. Look at me. Outsiders say I'm old-fashioned like an old man. After finishing speaking, Zhang Shan's expression suddenly became very serious. But if there is such a day, I, Zhang Shan, will be Elder Su's son, and I will die for you. Hearing this sentence, Su Han was suddenly taken aback. I was also a little moved in my heart. Zhang Shan is a straightforward person, and he can't hold back what is in his heart. Haha, when I get old, I still have to rely on you. Absolutely no problem. By the way, I see that you have a lot of things on your mind, so there should be something else you want to tell me? Su Han explained Zhang Shan's mental activities in one sentence. Randomly, Zhang Shan also sighed, and said to Su Han, Elder Su, there is indeed something I want you to help me with. A few days ago, I met a strange old man at the foot of the mountain. What he said, he saw that I was destined and wanted to accept me as a disciple. That old man, I look like a mortal, but I can't get rid of him no matter what, he has been following me. Heard the words. Su Han used the sky eye again to check Zhang Shan's life information. Name. Zhang Shan age, 39 years old, strength, 5th level of pulse condensing. Luck level. Thick golden life evaluation. Born in a bitter cold, but with amazing perseverance, hidden in the body. A trace of blood luck from the ancestors of the ancient Zhang family will be awakened in the 40 years. In the age of 40, you will meet your destined master. After reading it, a look of surprise flashed in Su Han's eyes. Because he found that, compared with the last time he used the sky eye to check his information, there is now an extra item in the life evaluation column. In the age of 40, I will meet my destined master. Moreover, the level of luck has also changed from the initial golden to thick golden. It also means that with the help of Su Han, Zhang Shan's fate is constantly changing. Standing at 30, not confused at 40, counting the time, Zhang Shan will soon be at the age of no doubt. And the strange mortal old man Zhang Shangku mentioned was his destined master. Thinking about it carefully, the Wanyan sect seems to be one of the 7 great sects of the Dagon Empire. However, this world is so big, compared with the huge and deep Great Thousand World, the Daqin Empire may be just a random place. So, what is the illusory cloud sect? For Zhang Shan, jumping out of the illusory cloud sect is a better choice. Thinking of this, Su Han already had a decision in his heart. Zhang Shan, I have a suggestion for you. Go down the mountain, that mortal old man is your destined master. Su Han said word by word. But, I am a member of the illusory cloud sect, and I have just entered the inner sect. Zhang Shan was a little tangled. After all, he had just passed the big contest of the outer door and entered the inner door. Zhang Shan, if you believe me, just go down the mountain. If after a year, you feel that my words are wrong, you can come back and continue to be your inner disciple. Hearing this, Zhang Shan looked at Su Han seriously, and finally his eyes became firm. If you ask who in this world he trusts most, it is Elder Su in front of him. His parents died early, and he had already silently regarded Elder Su as his relatives in his heart. Good. I trust Elder Su. I'm going down tonight. Zhang Shan's expression was very serious. Don't have any grudges. You just left the illusory cloud sect to pursue a higher realm. You are not betraying the illusory cloud sect. You can leave at ease. I will give the sect an explanation, and say that you have gone out to travel. Su Han is not trying to persuade Zhang Shan to betray the illusory cloud sect, but because of Zhang Shan's luck talent, staying here will limit his growth, which is completely inferior. Good. With that said, Zhang Shan stood up. Zhang Shan stood on the snowy ground in front of the Tibetan scripture pavilion. Flakes of snow like goose feathers fell on his clothes. Next second, he looked at Su Han, who was standing in front of the sutra pavilion, knelt down and kowtowed heavily. Elder Su, let's go now. I don't know when we will meet again in the future. Zhang Shan will always remember your kindness in his heart. Okay, let's go down the mountain. Su Han waved at him. Zhang Shan stood up, turned around, stepped on the snow, and walked down the mountain. Soon, it disappeared into the wind and snow, leaving only deep footprints. It's snowing heavily. At this time, Tianyue stood behind Su Han, looking at the wind and snow outside the window, and said quietly. Yes. It's snowing heavily. Zhang Shan also went down the mountain for several days. Due to Zhang Shan's outstanding performance, it also attracted the attention of many inner sect elders, and several elders even planned to accept Zhang Shan as a disciple. But there was no trace of Zhang Shan, so Su Han came forward to explain, saying that Zhang Shan went down the mountain to practice. Those elders who had lost their goals began to throw an olive branch to Lin Wushou again, preparing to accept disciples. However, when they heard the news that the Hidden Sword Villa was coming, they all gave up their minds. After all, isn't it self-defeating to rob someone from Hidden Sword Villa? In front of the behemoth of Hidden Sword Villa, Huan Yunzong is still too weak. Anyone with a discerning eye knows that the purpose of coming to Hidden Sword Villa must be for Lin Wushou, because Hidden Sword Villa only accepts sword cultivators, and Lin Wushou happens to be sword cultivators. This night, Lin Wushou came to the door of the Sutra Pavilion alone. After struggling for a while, I was about to open the door and go in. Next second, the door opened, and Su Han stood at the door with his hands behind his back, looking at Lin Wushou. Elder Su, I'm here to say goodbye. Compared with Zhang Shan, Lin Wushou seemed to talk a lot less and cut straight to the point. Well, Hidden Sword Villa is more suitable for you. After a few brief conversations, they fell into silence again. Lin Wushou's mentality is different from Zhang Shan's. He has a lot of burdens on him, and he must keep getting stronger and stronger. And Hidden Sword Villa is more suitable for me than Wanyunzong. He is in the illusory cloud sect, and he doesn't have many friends. He will leave tomorrow, and the only person he thinks of is Elder Su, who gave him a hand. Goodbye. Lin Wushou glanced at Su Han, then turned around, followed the wind and snow, and left illusory cloud sect. Looking at Lin Wushou's back, Su Han also sighed faintly. His life experience was quite painful, but he saw the true quality of a swordsman from Lin Wushou, who walked forward alone without stopping, even if there was a snowstorm in front of him that he couldn't see the road clearly. In just a few days, Su Han sent away 2 very potential disciples. Of course, he hoped that they could all make a difference outside. After the competition, another month passed. The illusory cloud sect finally ushered in the apprentice acceptance ceremony. After each big competition, the high-level sect will hold a grand apprentice acceptance ceremony based on the comprehensive strength of the disciples in the sect to absorb fresh blood from the outside world. For a sect, the most important thing is the input of fresh blood in order to develop better and better. The news of the apprenticeship ceremony has been released for half a month. In the Daqin Empire, countless young disciples, all full of hope, trek across mountains and rivers to the Wanyan sect. After all, Wanyunzong is one of the 7 great sects, a place where countless young brothers dream of cultivating immortals. Because of the launch of the apprentice acceptance ceremony, the Wanyan sect has also started to get busy. The items to be assessed, the venue for the assessment, the monitoring order, etc. After all, the number of people who come to the apprentice acceptance ceremony at least starts from 100,000. In many cases, it even reached hundreds of thousands. However, in the end, only a few dozen people were able to successfully enter the illusory cloud sect. And this time, according to incomplete statistics, the number of people participating this time has reached 1 million. This was an unprecedented number of words and a huge workload. The elders of the inner and outer sects were all mobilized, and even Su Han, the elder of the Sutra Pavilion, was assigned a task. The module that Su Han is in charge of is the first item, testing spiritual roots. The task of testing the spirit root was assigned to Su Han's heart. During this period of time, Su Han was worried that he could not find a good seed for investment. But Su Han only needs to use the sky eye to check the level of luck when testing the spirit root. Illusory Cloud Sect. A basin surrounded by 5 peaks forms a natural square. At this moment, on the entire square, as far as one can see, there are densely packed heads of people. Su Han stood on the testing altar, looking at the crowd, not only was filled with emotion in his heart. The world of cultivating immortals is still cruel. There are so many people competing for dozens of places, and it's really involved to the extreme. There are a total of 5 testing platforms. On the testing platform, there are 100 small spirit stones. As long as you put your hand on the surface of the spirit stones will emit 3 kinds of light. If there is no reaction, there is no spiritual root. White is the ordinary human spirit root. Yellow is the earth spirit root. The golden color is the root of the heavenly spirit. The former Su Han was just an ordinary human spirit root. The minimum standard for passing the first test is the human spirit root, and then you can enter the next round of tests. Because spiritual root is only one of the factors that determine talent, it cannot determine everything. Just like most of the inner disciples of the Wanyan sect are just ordinary human spiritual roots, and there are very few earthly spiritual roots. Few. The spiritual root is just an admission ticket for cultivating immortals. Just like Zhang Shan, who has the talent of golden luck, he is nothing more than a person's spiritual root. Of the 5 testing Lingtai, Su Han managed 1. The other 4 are other 4 elders, one of them is Su Han's old classmate, Wang Tian. There are 5 test platforms. 1 test platform can test 100 people at the same time, and 5 test platforms can test 500 people at the same time. It takes about a dozen interests to test once. However, testing 500,000 is also a huge project. At least it will take several days. This first item is the most tiring. However, after the first test, at least 90% of the people have to be screened out. After all, spiritual roots are not a rare thing. In a village, it is already good to have a seedling with spiritual roots. Up. In the crowd, countless young girls looked up at the 5 test elders with admiration in their eyes. This is a living immortal, an elder of the Wanyan sect, an immortal among immortals. And Su Han's outstanding appearance and handsome face quickly attracted the attention of countless people. Compared with the other 4 elders, Su Han seemed to be a handsome young man. With ethereal temperament and handsome appearance, he seems to be the same age as them, but he is already the elder of the illusory cloud sect. Countless girls looked at Su Han with flushed faces and beating hearts. The test begins. Following Wang Tian's order, more than a dozen deacons of the illusory cloud sect began to maintain order, allowing these young girls to come to the stage one after another to test their spiritual roots. In the first batch, none of them aroused the reaction of testing the spirit stones, all of them had no spirit roots. These young girls who failed the test all walked off the test platform in a daze. They failed the first test, and the blow was quite heavy. It can also be seen from this that the test of the illusory cloud sect is so strict, without spiritual roots, that they are not even qualified to enter the next round of tests. In the other small sects of the Daqin Empire, they don't have spiritual roots, and they can also enter the sect to practice outsider kung fu. But Huan Yunzong is one of the 7 major sects after all, and the selection is extremely strict. The Taihang sect, the head of the 7 great sects, is even more outrageous. To be eligible to enter the Taihang sect, you must have the root of the earth spirit. Before I knew it, half a day had passed. Tens of thousands of people have been tested, and there are only a few dozen people with spiritual roots, and no earthly spiritual roots have yet appeared. But no matter whether they have spiritual roots or not, Su Han uses his eyes of the sky to search, but finds that those young girls who don't even have spiritual roots are basically mortal luck. Because Su Han doesn't want to let go of any fish that slipped through the net. At this time, among the crowd, there was a handsome, about 17-year-old green girl in plain clothes. She carefully put her hand on the test spirit stone, and stared at the test spirit stone in front of her that determined her own destiny. She traveled from the small town for half a month to arrive at the illusory cloud sect. The expenses on her body have already been spent, because before she came, there was no travel expenses to go back. If she didn't pass the test, she might not be able to go back. She was just a mortal and could only walk back. She might starve to death or die of exhaustion on the way. The girl in plain clothes looked nervous, her fingers were trembling slightly. After a breath. The test spirit stone in front of him has not changed in any way. At this moment, the heart of the girl in plain clothes fell to the bottom of the valley. Soon, a deacon's stern voice came. Those who have not passed the test, hurry up and don't waste time. This icy voice directly announced the end of the girl in plain clothes. She lowered her head and walked down the stage. She didn't know how to live her life in the future. Even if she got home alive, she didn't know if there was a place for her in that home. May I have your name? A gentle voice reached the ear of the plain-clothed girl. She looked up, and saw a face that was too handsome. It was the elder on the test bench. Seeing that Su Han had stopped the plain-clothed girl, the deacon didn't dare to urge her anymore, but just urged the others to leave quickly. Back to elder, My name is Ching. The Sukchun girl did not dare to look up at Su Han, but stammered. You are selected, you go there. Su Han pointed to a place and said to the plain skirt girl. Hearing this sentence, the plain skirt girl showed an incredulous expression. She was a little unbelievable for a while, then mustered up her courage, looked at Su Han, and asked cautiously, Me? Hurry up, the next batch of disciples will come up for the test, don't occupy your seat. Su Han said with a smile. Well, the plain skirt girl felt a little dazed, like a dream. When she walked to the selected area, she found that there were very few people. This area is during the test. If a certain test elder takes a fancy to a certain disciple, he can open the back door for him. This is also a power given to the test elder by the illusory cloud sect, which is an exceptional admission. In the previous batch, Wang Tian also took a fancy to a disciple with a spiritual root, so he made an exception and made him selected. But basically they are disciples with spiritual roots. This is the first time I have seen Su Han accept a mortal without spiritual roots. Hey, Su Han, I didn't expect you to be so good. I need a bed warming maid, just tell me, brother, and you'll be fine. Wang Tian saw that Su Han broke the rules and allowed a mortal woman to be selected, so he seized the opportunity and joked through voice transmission. Hearing this, Su Han didn't plan to talk to him. A frog in a well like Wu Yu will never know how strong this girl's destiny is. When the people in the square saw that Su Han made an exception for a mortal girl, they all cast envious and jealous eyes, especially those girls, all frantically winking at Su Han. They thought Su Han was just warming up. It's just a bed maid. To become the bed warming maid of such a big shot is a great opportunity for them. The key is that this big shot is very young and handsome. The ceremony of accepting disciples continued. Regarding Chingy's luck talent, Su Han prepared to use the sky eye to test again after a while. Unknowingly, it was almost dusk, and the setting sun hung high in the sky, cut in half by the mountains. Since all the deacons of the illusory cloud sect were dispatched, the efficiency was many times faster. In just one day, 1/3 of the disciples have been tested. The next day, the number of people tested has already exceeded half, but there are only 2 earth spirit veins and more than 100 human spirit veins. And the 2 U's of the earth spirit veins have not small backgrounds, and they both come from big families. I have to admit that these second-generation immortals born in big families have higher talents and resources than those ordinary people. The sons of the aristocratic family are at the same level. Su Han also used the eyes of the sky to investigate the 2 U's with the earth spirit veins. Name. Bai Sen age, 22 years old, luck level, yellow. Life evaluation. This person is too high-spirited, lazy, wasted his talent foundation, and eventually became an ordinary person. Name. Chen He age, 18 years old. Luck level. Black, life evaluation. This person is rebellious and rebellious. He is a dandy. When he is weak, he will encounter catastrophe. After seeing the luck levels of these 2 people, Su Han lost interest in an instant. Although it is the earth spirit root, so what? One of the luck levels is yellow, and the other is directly the image of violent death. And that young Chen He, who was only 18 years old and possessed the spiritual root of the earth, was admitted by Wang Tian directly, and he had already planned to directly accept Chen He as his disciple. Chen He, who was directly favored by the elders of the Wanyan sect, was a high-spirited one. Standing on the promotion platform, overlooking the crowd underground, his pupils were full of superiority and contempt. In fact, when Wang Tian decided to accept Chen He as his apprentice, he had already found out his identity. Chen He, the only son of Lord Chen of Luoshui City. Luoshui City is also a large commercial city, occupying a transportation hub, belonging to a very wealthy and generous city. Moreover, he also accepted the gift from City Lord Chen, so there was no reason not to accept Chen He as his apprentice. Wang Tian has already made preparations for Chen He to be admitted even if he does not have a spiritual root, but he did not expect that this Chen He is actually a good seedling who cultivates immortals, and this also gives him a meaning. Happy. Not only did he gain access to the relationship with City Lord Chen, but he also took in a disciple with good potential, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. At this time, Wang Tian proudly glanced at Wang Tian, who was not far away, and snorted coldly. Junior brother Su, you don't plan to accept an apprentice so that you can take care of your old age in the future? Facing Wang Tian's voice transmission taunt, Su Han didn't even bother to look at him. At this moment, he really wanted to say something to him. You apprentice, your seal is darkened, and you look like you were about to die. Let's be proud now. After a while, the precious son of City Lord Chen died not long after he became a teacher. Let's see how you end up. One thing to say, Su Han saw many young girls with spiritual veins, all with yellow luck, and even saw a light blue luck. Both are better than those 2 earth spirit roots, the so-called Tianzhao. Testing continues. Yellow moon, light yellow luck. Li Dong, yellow luck. Ma Ran, white luck. Su Han also observed a large circle, but did not find gold, or luck above gold. However, it was beyond Su Han's expectation to find someone with Qingyi's fate and luck. This time, he did not come in vain for the apprentice acceptance ceremony. At this time, Qing He, who was sitting on the high platform of the promotion seat, sat obediently. Her heart was both excited and complicated. She didn't know why that elder accepted her. She was not outstanding, and she didn't have spiritual roots. Could it be that, just as they said, they just accepted me as a bed-warming maid? She was very conflicted in her heart, but she didn't have the courage to step down from the high platform and give up this opportunity. However, after thinking about it carefully, being able to enter the immortal sect was a good result compared to starving to death on the road. After a while, she looked towards the square, and soon, she saw a familiar figure, wearing a plain skirt. She was so frightened that she almost sat up from her seat. Her beautiful eyes were full of shock. That familiar figure was 70% or even 80% similar to her. Looking carefully, it was not difficult to see that they were twin sisters, that is, twins. Why did Xiao Yu follow? Shouldn't she be at home? Seeing her younger sister secretly following her and preparing to participate in the apprentice acceptance ceremony, Qing He was burning with anxiety. I have good luck, but it doesn't mean that my sister has the same luck. In case my sister loses the election, what awaits her will be a more tragic ending than her failure. Soon, the girl was on the testing platform, which was also where Su Han was. When Su Han saw the woman in plain skirt, Su Han's eyes widened instantly. He turned his head and found that Qing was still sitting there, but his expression was a little unnatural. Then, this girl who looks 7 to 8 times like her should be her twin sister. With the mentality of giving it a try, Su Han used the eye of the sky to check her luck talent. After reading the text about her luck talent, Su Han was stunned. Name: Qing Yu. Age: 17 years old. Strength: Mortal Realm. Luck level: Twin Life Dharani, Dharma aspect. Life evaluation: Reincarnation fate: 10 lives and 9 evils, confusing and confusing. This life may be able to escape the shackles, and the rest of the fate track disappears, currently unable to check. Recent encounter: Need to find a sect to cultivate immortals, eager to cultivate immortals. After reading the plain skirt girl's text message, Su Han only felt a little dazed. Twin births: this is the luck of the Dharma, and it is also a top-level luck that is 1 level higher than the purple luck. At this moment, Su Han, who uses the sky eye, can see a purple mandala flower behind the girl, which is 90% similar to the mandala flower behind Qing He, and the similarities complement each other, as if same plant. Her text message is exactly the same as Qingyi's. Encountering Qingyi's top-level Dharma luck, Su Han was already unbelievable, and now there is another one that is exactly the same, which is somewhat beyond Su Han's expectations. Moreover, regarding the life evaluation of the 2 sisters, Su Han can't understand directly, it's in the cloud. All in all, these 2 sisters are seedlings worthy of investment, top seedlings. It doesn't mean that after Qing Yu tested her spiritual root, she didn't have a spiritual root just like her sister Qing He. Looking at the test stone in front of her, Qing Yu clenched her fingers unconsciously, then turned her head and looked at her sister who was on the promotion stage. She was confused for a while, and she didn't know what to do next. Go home? But how should I go back? I went back by myself, is that home really my home? In her world, her only relative is her own sister. Soon, the deacon's urging voice came. Qing Yu looked away, lowered his head, and walked down the stage, and sure enough, he was still separated from his sister. However, as long as she knew that her sister had successfully advanced, she would be relieved. Next second, Su Han stopped in front of Qing Yu, and said to her, "Are you Qing He's younger sister?" The words fell. Qing Yu looked up, looked at this handsome fairy, and nodded. Sit down next to your sister. Hearing this sentence, Qing Yu couldn't react, and was stunned. Even Qing He, who was not far away, looked at Su Han incredulously, with complicated eyes. Great Immortal, I don't quite understand what you mean. Qing Yu was a little timid. She was afraid that she might misunderstand Su Han's words and anger the Immortal, so she asked again. It's what you think. Come on, your sister is still waiting for you. After hearing these words of affirmation, Qing Yu's eyes blurred all of a sudden. Ever since she could remember, she had lived a humble life and never thought that anyone would recognize her. She didn't know the etiquette of immortals either, she just learned from the book and bowed heavily to Su Han. Then she walked towards her sister. When she sat next to her sister, the two of them hugged and cried. Although they didn't cry out, the silence at the moment was better than the sound. There was touch, joy, and a sense of relief. When other people saw that Qing Yu had been admitted again with an exception, they were also jealous to the extreme, and soon many people also discovered that they were two sisters. But looking at Qing He alone, she can only feel that she is very young, but when the two sisters stay together, there is a sense of fit that complements each other, beautiful and charming, and both of them are wearing simple clothes. She always keeps her head down, but she can still be seen as a beauty. Seeing that Su Han accepted the sister flower in an unusual way, the other elders and the deacons all cast strange glances at Su Han. This Su Han is so good. Because, in their eyes, taking in mortal sisters who have no spiritual roots to cultivate immortals is not to be taken back as bed-warming maids, is it still not taken back as disciples? Seeing that Su Han accepted a pair of sisters, Wu Yu came to sneer again. My junior brother Su, I didn't expect you to take such a good bite. Senior brother advises you, you can have fun, but don't hurt your body. After all, you are old and can't stand the torture. Wang Tiankai just accepted a disciple of Earth Spirit Root, and he is in a good mood. Seeing Wang Tian chattering in his ears like a Tang monk, if it weren't for the crowds, he really wanted to slap him to death. UTM accepted a dead ghost, is it worthy of being compared with Lao Su's top luck disciple? Are you qualified? Since Su Han received 2 sister flowers. Some girls in the crowd who thought they were good-looking rushed to Su Han's testing platform to test. After failing the test, they looked at Su Han pitifully. Su Han wanted to cry but didn't want to cry, he closed his eyes and didn't want to open them. Do you really feel like a pervert? What ITM look at is talent and luck, not appearance. In this way, the day passed quickly. The first test has reached its peak stage, and only 1/5 of the people have not been tested yet. Hundreds of thousands of people have been tested, but only more than 200 people have reached the human spirit root, and the 2 earth spirit roots have not changed. However, Su Han is satisfied, and now he just wants to get off work early. In this wave, Su Han is definitely winning. Suddenly, the purple light burst, attracting the attention of everyone present. I saw, on Wu Yu's testing platform, a seedling cultivating immortals with Tianlingen appeared. The young man who tested the heavenly spirit root was about 16 years old, wearing a gorgeous brocade robe, standing on a high platform with his head held high, and the golden scabbard made of top spirit iron hanging from his waist can be seen. It can be seen that the identity of this young man is not simple. Next second, the purple light soared into the sky, and the young man stood in the middle of the purple light, looking noble and sacred. Soon, Great Elder Zhao Chonghe appeared above the void, and the moment he saw the young man in brocade robe, a hint of surprise flashed across his face. How could that son of Qilin who was rumored to be miraculous came to the illusory moon sect? Wasn't he already appointed by Tai Hongzong? I have seen the Great Elder. Seeing the arrival of the Great Elder, the young man bowed slightly to him, appearing very polite. Are you alone? Well, my father has been busy recently, so I came alone. From these simple conversations, it can be seen that this young man has an unusual relationship with the Great Elder, which shows how deep his background is. At this time, Su Han also opened his eyes, squinted his eyes, and prepared to use the sky eye to check the luck of this young man. Soon, a text message about the young man appeared in Su Han's mind. Name: Qian Tianlong. Age: 17 years old. Strength: Gu Yuan is perfect. Luck level: Lavender, with black dots. Life evaluation: this person is born with the aura of a nobleman, with signs of becoming a dragon, but he relies on his talents to let go. The city is dark, and he has the trajectory of falling into the devil's way, so he cannot be handed over. Recent encounter: I hope to get the most important thing of the head of the Wanyan sect. After watching it, Su Han lost interest instantly. To make it so awesome, Su Han thinks it must be a purple talent at the very least, right? Unexpectedly, it was just barely a lavender, and the lavender was also mixed with a little bit of black, which proved that this young man's luck was not pure, and he was in danger of falling instantly. Moreover, Su Han found out from his life evaluation that this polite and happy young man in front of him is actually a dark city, and there is a risk of falling into the devil's way. Seeing this, Su Han instantly lost any interest in investing. In addition, the system has already reminded that this child cannot be handed over, so it is better not to have any contact with him, so as not to affect your luck. Moreover, this child's mind is impure. His purpose of coming to the Huan Yu sect was to steal the natal item of the head of the Huan Yun sect. The Qian surname is the national surname of the Dagon Empire, so his identity is ready to be revealed. He is a member of the royal family. At this moment, Wu Yu was so excited that he couldn't get any more excited. Tianlingen, and at such an age, has already completed the congealing pulse, and this young man exudes an aura of nobility, and he is likely to be a big shot from the royal family. If he could be recruited into his sect, wouldn't Wu Yu be on the rise? Thinking of this, Wu Yu was about to ask aloud. But at this time, a Taoist of the middle way appeared above the void at some point. Seeing the appearance of the middle-aged Taoist, all the elders and deacons present bowed to the middle-aged Taoist, Master. There was an instant commotion in the entire square at the word, head. This ordinary-looking middle-aged Taoist is actually the head of the illusory cloud sect. In an instant, those mortal children in the square bowed down to the middle-aged Taoist in an instant. In their world-view, it was as if they suddenly saw a legendary figure in an ancient book, the head of the illusory cloud sect, the head of the 7 great sects. The masters are all legendary figures. The middle-aged Taoist gently raised his hand, and a spring breeze swept across the square, and all the mortal children who knelt down were lifted up by the spring breeze. The middle-aged Taoist looked at the young man, smiled, and said, "The last time I chatted with your father, I said that you went to Taihangzong." As soon as the words, Taihangzong, came out, the audience was in an uproar again. Taihang sect, the leader of the 7 great sects, belongs to the category of fault-letting. Since the day it existed, it has always been the head of the 7 great sects. It has never fallen, and has always been hanging in that position. It turned out that this young man could easily go to Taihangzong. I went there for a while and found that I didn't like that lifeless place, so I came to you. In the young man's words, he used, "come to find you," instead of "come to the Huan Yunzong," which also showed that he came for the elder of Huan Yunzong. Heard the words. The middle-aged Taoist was taken aback for a moment, and a look of doubt flashed in the depths of his pupils. "My ability is limited, but I can't teach you anything," the middle-aged Taoist said with a smile. "My father said that the head of the illusory cloud sect is an interesting person." Having said that, the young man smiled. Hearing this sentence, the middle-aged Taoist's expression froze for a moment, then he regained his composure in an instant, and said, "It seems that your father will tell you everything." The young man could already hear the displeasure in the middle-aged Taoist's tone. But he didn't panic at all, because only in this way could he accept himself personally. In fact, he came to Huan Yunzong because of his father's suggestion. Otherwise, he would never have imagined that the head of this little illusory cloud sect, a lower middle-level sect among the 7 major sects, actually hides such a deep identity. Hear this. Not far away, Su Han looked at the middle-aged Taoist, the head of the illusory cloud sect, Yunfeng. Then he found that Yunfeng's cultivation was different from what he had seen before. The last time I saw him, he was still in the Guyuan realm. At that time, Yunfeng's cultivation realm was the innate perfection realm. But now, after Su Han stepped into the Shanshan realm, he discovered that the aura emanating from Yunfeng's body definitely did not belong to the Shanshan realm. Although it was hidden very deeply, Su Han still found the anomaly. Combined with the conversation between the boy with a big background and Yunfeng, Su Han already understood the general idea in his heart. Yunfeng is definitely not simple. He has been in the illusory cloud sect for so many years, and he has also heard a lot about Yunfeng's deeds. He was idle, leaving all the big and small matters of the sect to the great elder Zhao Changhe, and he, who was in awe all day long, sometimes met a middle-aged fortune-teller in a small town at the foot of the mountain. It could very well be him. It is this unreliable head who supports the entire illusory cloud sect. Actually, when you think about it, it's kind of weird. Because the position of the illusory cloud sect is terribly stable, it has always been at the middle lower level, it has never risen, but it has never fallen either. Because of the 7 sects, except for Taihangzong, who is the leader and unshakable. The rankings of other sects are constantly changing, because as long as other sects become stronger, they can replace one of the 7 major sects. However, among the 7 major sects, the only 2 sects that remain unchanged are the Taihang sect and the Wanyan sect. An eternal boss, an eternal 6th. I don't want to know, but when I thought about it, I was startled, and Su Han even thought of a terrible guess, that is, Yunfeng was deliberately controlling points. Just like the top student in the previous life, he always controls the score in the exam. From Su Han's point of view, Yunfeng is just playing point control. Master Yun, I don't know if I am qualified to worship under your sect. Qian Tianlong's expression is very sincere. Hearing this sentence, and it was still on such a big occasion, Yunfeng knew that he couldn't refuse. Otherwise, the illusory cloud sect will end up with a bad name of rejecting talents. He smiled and said, "You don't need to be under the door. I have nothing to teach you, you can come under my door, but..." Speaking of this, Qian Tianlong said, "It is my honor to be able to worship under the Wanyan sect. After 3 years, I will leave the Wanyan sect myself." Because Qian Tianlong knew that Yunfeng was a man with a deep city, and it was too difficult for him to get close to him. 3 years was the maximum limit. "Well, come to Tian Yun Mountain to find me tomorrow." After speaking, Yunfeng left. He knew that Qian Tianlong came here to test himself, but he didn't care too much, there must be no result to test himself. The episode in which Qian Tianlong apprenticed to the head of the Wanyan sect directly made the whole ceremony of accepting disciples unusual. Wu Yu also used a few other elders from the outer sect. They were all good people. He knew that the young man was probably a member of the royal family, and they came here with unusual intentions. They were just little elders, they didn't dare to venture into this muddy water. Therefore, the grand ceremony will continue to be maintained soon. Wu Yu also sighed when he saw Qian Tianlong's leaving back. It seems that the relationship at that level is not something he can cling to. Testing continues. On the square, there are only a few hundred people left, and Su Han will be able to clock out of get off work soon.